Nick Lanny knows how to hold a mic. He knows exactly how to hold it, which part to talk into it.
I did a talent show at work last year, and the lady who's like the head of the department over there, she didn't know how to hold a mic. I'm like,
Isn't that so annoying? Maybe it's just me. It's fucking
it was annoying,
rage-inducing. And I guess there's no real class to take as to what
Right.
stage etiquette is. I guess
There's classes.
But is there one that will day one hold the mic like this?
right?
I would imagine a good comedy class would do that, but
That's true.
that's an oxymoron of having a good comedy class.
I learned my lesson because I do the first mics, and then at the end of my set, I'm like, oh, I put it closer, people can hear me. Maybe my jokes would have done better if they could, It's always like,
So now that you fixed that, what's your excuse?
yeah. Now I'm like, well, it's now I fixed the mic. Oh well, yeah.
Everything's perfect. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Buddycast. Sitting with me is my co-host, the Mr. Dread himself, Mr. Aaron Chase. Aaron Chase, how are you doing today?
I'm good, and I really like the name Mr. Dread, so I think I'm gonna take that on.
Dude, you should be like a justice, and then we can call you Judge Dread.
Nice. Where's my
But
superpower?
D-R-E-A-D, for sure. Like, not Dread.
And my hair does a Medusa power, so it gets long and it strangles people, and it gets my hair.
What was
juice in the nose.
what is Medusa's power?
Turn people in stone.
Yeah. If you look at her in the eyes.
If you look Aaron Chase in the eyes, you get super stoned. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's
it's a weird
It's a modern
Justice
update.
Dread. Yeah, it's a CW take on
Yeah.
Judge Dread. How do you plead? Stoned, bro.
I would watch that Netflix series.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
I think they should make a Netflix Judge Dredd.
I want to see it to CW so it gets canceled to like 5 seasons.
Oh, and that is our fucking guest of the day.
Well, what's,
the IE celebrity himself, Mr. Nick Lanny.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Nick Lanny, how does it feel to know without a doubt that you are probably
The most famous.
famous in IE?
Oh, wow.
Everyone-
Feels good. Yeah, it feels awesome.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing comedy and you don't know who Nick Lanny is, you're not really doing comedy. And that's just because, like, you grind. Like, you go
thanks, man.
everywhere.
Thanks.
I see you post shit on Instagram. It's like, dude, it's a Sunday, dude. It's the Lord's Day. What are you doing? Doing comedy at an arcade in a parking lot or something. Like, you're always out there.
Wow, thanks, man. Yeah.
Always out there. And I think, yeah, if you're doing comedy, you haven't run into Nick Lanny, you're not doing enough comedy. Like, that's a numbers thing. And I can't think of another clean comic in the game right now.
Thank you.
Oh shit, huh?
Yeah, and like I don't even call you a clean comic anymore because
thanks,
you do Nick Lanny comedy.
Thanks, man.
Like,
Yeah, that's the thing. I want people to listen to my comedy and not think I'm clean. At least I'd say God bless.
Yeah.
The God bless puts the punctuation.
Yeah, that's how you know I'm clean. But
But
before
then
that, I want
walk off flipping them off and then just leave them with mixed signals. Like, I'm so confused.
Got to keep them on their toes.
Yeah. So, this is great. Thanks for having me come back. Because I was on the first one.
Yeah, but speaking of that, fuck. Okay. All right, I have a question, Nick.
Oh, okay. Sure. Right at the bat, man.
Nick has notes too. It says Philippians 2 verse
Dude,
9.
No one ever brings us notes.
No one gives a fuck
okay.
about us.
That's
That's
fair.
why.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't want to hear about you guys. That's all we hear about. Just 4 days a week.
What's on your notes, man? Before I get into my bullshit.
Oh, okay. I feel like this is the bookend. Thanks for having me on the last joke guys, because you got Game Boys, you got Film Gents, you got that's coming out today, right? Film Gents,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got Fight Boys. Isn't that the other ones?
Basically.
Fight Boys,
Dude,
Game Boys, joke guys.
I might end the season fighting Stephen Roth. I'm not sure.
Oh, that'd be awesome. You got to film it there.
How is it going?
We haven't decided completely yet. The idea's been thrown around, but I also like you don't know someone until you fight them.
Oh, that's true.
And
Then you guys won't be friends. You got to do the last one.
no,
in case this does not go well.
friends make the best fights, I think, because it's not personal. At
Unless
that point.
someone dies.
Yeah. I mean, then he's weak. He shouldn't have been my friend, bitch.
You could have died too, though.
Then I was weak, and I shouldn't have been your friend. I'm equal on all counts.
I think the difference between you and Stephen Roth is if he died, you'd stop the podcast. If you died, he'd keep recording.
No, I keep recording.
He would. Yeah, both of you would talk to the corpse.
I would just get guests instead.
This is the end of Fight Guy, Fight Boys, whatever. This is my Instagram is
Fathletic,
the real
by the
George.
way. Fathletic is the podcast that Nick Lanny is talking about. It comes out every Saturday or every Thursday at 6 o'clock in the goddamn morning because that's how we roll.
Yo, if you guys do fight, can we record it?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I don't know how fight. We might just roll, but
Gotta have a
it's like
neutral
who the fuck would cap off a season podcast with a fight. No one
Yeah.
really.
Joe Rogan would.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah,
I want him to fight Neil deGrasse Tyson.
He wants his perfect ball.
Or maybe he and I are coaches, and we coach someone, and we coach our own people, and they fight. Oh, that's better. Nick, can you make this happen? You look like a white guy that can get some shit happen, and we need to get this. We need to get it sanctioned by California State Athletic Commission.
I'll get the newest comics that come to Worthington. The other ones, they will be the ones that fight. That's how they make it.
That's
This
how
is harder.
That's level 1 of Project Mayhem. Is like if it's your first day, you have to fight.
Harder, grittier buddy system. This is the new buddy system.
We did get 2 new guys that I haven't really seen before.
They're gonna fight. Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
If they stick around by the end of the month, then.
If you're talking about the wheelchair guy, I'm in to see that fight.
That guy's in a chair box. His name's Kyler Bentley, I think. He's been in the chair box a lot.
See, you know everybody, Nick. God damn.
See? Yeah, he's always out there. He's always grinding. Like, okay, most of us stop. Like I've probably been on stage 7 times now in the last maybe month.
Oh, right.
So I took a long break, and I feel like you didn't really.
I was doing some in L.A., like Thousand Oaks. This lady named Katya, shout out to her. She has really good one. It's like a park. A lot of people don't really. They're afraid of park mics, whatever. It was cool because it's outdoors. Of course, when it gets dark,
Nick Lanny is fearless, is what you're trying to say.
I did Fourth Wall. That was it was on tent, but it was a lot of it was during the heat too. So
Fourth Wall had no walls. That's weird.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
How are you doing during quarantine? Like, what did you do?
Let's see. So I watched. I went through because I have videotape all my sets. I went through probably all my videos since starting being consistent in 2018. Yeah.
So you just watched?
I watched them all.
How was that?
How was season 2?
It was crazy because it's like, well, you have to really get used to listening to yourself. Like, but after a while, you got.
Aaron's got 20 podcasts.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm used to it.
And you don't listen to any of them, or do you listen to any of them?
He only listens to ACMM because he doesn't want to hear anybody else.
I just listen to myself, and that's how I go to sleep. That's how I wake up. It's just an echo chamber in my brain.
That's how we all go to sleep.
Yeah, I listen to that. I go to sleep. It's like 29 hours of just video, just going through it.
What did you learn?
First thing what I wanted to do originally was go through like where I had good sets and see how I told the jokes because going forward, I wanted to see how am I saying the joke? Am I saying it differently? That like, because some sets a joke would do better than other ones, and I'm like, oh, I said this, so I put this word here, whatever. But then I noticed I'm like, hey, when I was so April 2018, that's when I became consistent. Started being consistent till about
consistent Nick
till June. I had a shift. So it was when I stopped rehearsing before doing my set. So like watching those videos, because I was way stiffer. Of course, getting on stage more just helps too. So yeah, I learned that. Again, just learning one joke had a really good response at one show that didn't. That's a bit I do about McDonald's, and I told it differently than I never told, and it got like the best reaction. So if I decide to bring it back, I'll kind of do that. So it's like a lot of that kind of stuff, mechanics. Some jokes, like, because, I write before 2020, I was doing a joke every day. Write a joke every day. Full premise, full punchline, have to write it out.
Weird flex, bro. Weird flex.
So, it's just a habit. Like, I don't go to bed until I've written a joke, basically. Like, I have to force myself till I've written something. Even if it's just one, but then 2020, I'm like, because I want to do 10 minutes. Because I heard the Ice House, if you have 20 minutes, you send a tape. The Ice House, you can do like the main room or whatever.
Now?
Cool.
Or before COVID.
Oh, okay.
So my goal for 2020 was, okay, get a new 10, whatever, and then try apply for the Ice House. So I was trying a new 10. I'm like, well, I need to ramp that up, just write more material, basically. And so let's see, where was I going with this?
Just what you were learning and how you're compiling your techniques.
So if I'm doing new material like Worthington's every week, I'm going to have jokes I'm not doing anymore. Like I've just dropped them for a reason. So that was another thing I learned was seeing what jokes I dropped, can I bring them back? And then I'd pick out the ones like, oh, this was a good joke. Like, why did I stop doing that kind of thing? Or maybe rewrite. Maybe there's a way I can rewrite it, that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff. My funnest sets to watch were actually the riff-offs. The one that
I missed the riff-off.
Yeah.
I never recorded those.
Yeah, I can send you guys my performances.
I'll watch it.
I'll record
I don't know. When I record, it kind of takes me out of the moment, and riff-offs especially. It's like that's more me practicing being present. Like,
right.
Alive in the room. Like, am I funny? Usually not. But
a lot of comics don't like to record themselves. They're not used to it. For me, because I do it so much, I don't even think about it. I don't even when I'm on stage, I don't even look at the camera. Like and that's what I think if you want to record yourself for any advice, just do it all the time. Like, just do it every time. So
it seems like I'm just fascinated how your quarantine was, because I'm fascinated by everyone's quarantines, because every like
right,
it was so insular, but you just seem so much more confident.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It was a decision definitely to make. I'm like, if I come back, like, I got to be more, because I would look at, again, watching myself, I'm like, at the shows, I'm way more confident, because I'm not like talking to the comics, I'm just talking to the audience, I'm trying to reach them, whatever, be more confident. I'm like, that should be the way every mic. I should be that confident every mic. And then just in general, I feel like I've done more shows and stuff. Like, I guess when I first started, like, being around other comics, like, oh, I'm the new guy. Like, I don't want to, just kind of keep to myself. Like, I don't want to, whatever. Seem like that guy who's
That's the
trying
secret,
too
though,
hard.
is that you could always be the new guy.
Yeah,
you could be doing it 10 years, and you go to a new mic,
Right.
and now you're the new guy.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the best.
Yeah, it's true. They don't
I
know
love
who you
being
are.
underestimated.
Yeah,
It's
that's
great.
true.
Like,
Especially
dude,
they
this
don't know
dude
who you
smells
are.
like weed, and he sits in the corner just playing on his phone.
Yeah.
Is he funny?
I remember when I first saw Steven Espinoza at Back to the Grind.
Yeah.
I thought he was like a poet or something, because he had like a little book in order. But there was like no other comics, and he gets up and he destroyed it. It was awesome. So it was just, you just don't, that's what's cool about comics. You don't, you can smell like a guitar player, but you can't, a comic, you don't know who's going to be a comic. And that's what's cool, because it's all about what we're bringing to the stage, whatever. We're all unique, whatever. For quarantine, let's see, there were other things. I also thought it was a good opportunity, because when I'm at mics, I'm hearing, like, I don't watch a lot of comedy specials, I'll admit that, because I don't want that comic style to rub off. Like, when I first started, I listened to a lot of Dan Cook. And when I'd write a joke, of course, I'd never take anything, I'd never take anybody's style, but I would think like him when I'm writing my material. And I feel like I'd think like a lot of comics, like a new joke would come in my mind, I'd hear it, and maybe another, like, someone I heard on open mic, their voice almost.
Yeah, I catch myself channeling, like, my friends or people that I think are funny.
Yeah, it's weird. And, like, so I thought, well, this is a good opportunity to just write in my own voice. Like, when I hear a joke, like, oh, that's a joke I would tell, that's a joke I should do on stage. So that's another thing. So quarantine, I mean, it's a good way to catch up, too, because my goal was, when I record myself, watch them every week and then know what to do next, whatever. I was doing that, like, when I first was consistent. So this is a good way to catch up on everything, too. So I know some people are having a hard time. Of course, I think having a job, whatever, it's always harder that way, So I have an office job, and they're now allowing me to work at home. So that's been easier, but I'm not, not bragging. Like, I know it's harder for other people, So and I feel bad for bartenders. I feel bad for anybody that's like doing any kind of service, restaurant, So
I make it work.
Yeah.
Fuck. Life's gonna always happen, And so I think you just need to have good foundations in place so that when something happens, you're moderately prepared, emotionally speaking, to make the decisions you need to make. So
yeah.
I'm living pretty comfortably right now.
That's
we'll
good.
see. We'll
Yeah,
see
that's
what
good.
happens in November, but if things will change.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's.
You also started hanging out with John. Like, you started hanging out with Johnny Gold a little before quarantine. When did you guys start getting close?
Let's see. So I would see him at the Hideaway. I talked to him. I first saw him at Stephanie Michelle had like a birthday show at the Getaway. That's when I first saw him go up, and I was like, I was blown away. Whatever. He was really, very comfortable. You could tell he'd been doing it. He had a lot, good material and stuff. And then I just started talking to him at the Hideaway, and we would just be, just kind of like talking. And then, let's see. And then we started hanging out. I would say it was around June of last year. Yeah, we just started hanging out, started doing more shows and stuff and stuff like that. And then quarantine, because we thought, well, why don't we start driving to like LA and stuff? So I would like film him and stuff like that. So that's the other thing is, and it allows me to practice filming too, because I would just set up my camera and like, okay, I hope I'm in the shot, and then I'd go up and like, okay, either I was or I wasn't, and then capture. But with him, I can kind of like direct it and stuff, and so now I'm actually looking at more technology for my camera, because it's a mirrorless camera. It's an ESOM, in case anyone's wondering. It's a Canon, and you can get more lenses for it and stuff like that. So like at the La Pasita's mic ran by Carlos Patino and Frankie Oy, I got this new smaller lens, and it's like you can go closer up and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we started hanging out. We started, I would say with the quarantine, when Katya first posted the 1000 Oaks, we're like, hey, let's do it. And that's when we started kind of driving out, and then we tried Fourth Wall. We got booked on a few shows, like Pan Pacific Park. We got on there, So it's just a lot of them are in parks and stuff. So, but yeah, so
I feel like Johnny Gold is an enigma to me.
Oh yeah,
he's a fascinating human being. And I don't think I've ever gotten. Maybe we should hit him up for this one.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever gotten to know him in the same way I've gotten to know everybody else.
Oh, I
through
see.
These. I don't know. What's your relationship like?
It's cool. I mean, because he's been doing it for so long, and when you see him, like, I like watching him at mics and I like watching him at shows too because he
fascinatingly comfortable.
Yeah, at mics he does. He does like he always tries to do stuff spur of the moment, which is cool. And then it shows like you can tell he has jokes he's written out and he does them and stuff like that. It's like I think a lot of people, if like they make assumptions, but unless you've seen him in a show, like I don't think you can really make an assumption about like what he does and what he does on stage and stuff like that. It's really cool and he definitely he has a process too. And so that's I think he likes to keep some of his process kind of. A mystery to some degree. Because I think like KJ kind of says similar thing when you were talking to KJ about his process. He doesn't want like KJ doesn't want everybody to just replicate what he's doing. So
though actually I know what you're saying. Like Johnny Gold is mysterious to me.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like if I went hiking, I could find him in a cave. And
he'd be at home in his
writing a manifesto. I don't know what the fuck he does.
Maybe Johnny Gold's got a cave in his home. You don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe his home is a cave.
Maybe he's got a 9-bedroom home and one of the bedrooms is a cabin.
Yeah, that's where he goes to do his real thinking, his spirituality.
It's like fucking Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah,
his fucking Spirit Tree or whatever. Right. I wrote all my songs here. Thriller.
Yeah.
Man in the Mirror. Stop Touching Boys, all my favorite songs.
One of the things we had a mic on. Days are.
Oh yeah, Lapasitas and then Worthingtons.
Lapasitas and then Worthingtons.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I'm curious what your prediction is for the IE scene now because
it's gonna implode.
Well, it was interesting. Everyone's a little more aggressive. There's
when everyone was roasting each other. Yeah, Jonathan was roasting everybody. Yeah.
And I mean that in the best way. It was nice. It was really nice. The vibe of like
I know what Jonathan thinks of me.
It felt there's like this like Marine style camaraderie minus knowing how to fight.
Yeah.
There's this I don't know. There's a fun, aggressive energy about it. But I'm curious, what do you think is going to happen in the future with this IE?
Let's see. I think from what I'm already seeing, audiences are more open to seeing comedy, definitely, because I think they're finally getting out of the house and they finally can watch it. For comics, I do feel comics are more serious now. Like, because if they're going to be here at a mic during this pandemic, like they're going to be serious. Like they're going to bring stuff, whatever. Yeah, I guess the big thing is the comedy clubs. That's the thing. That's the real wild card for me is like, because like your guys' stuff revolved around comedy clubs. A lot of comics are like, I want to get on the Ice House, I want to get here, I want to get there. So it's kind of like, those are like the goals, if you will, the kind of off in the distant. That's the only thing I'm not really sure. Yeah, I think with the whole roasting each other, I mean, it was funny at the time. I'm just not sure how that's going to, like, I imagine Worthington is going to kind of catch on, more regular people are going to come, so then like, yeah, that's the only thing is it going to be. I think in the parking lot, like that's going to be like it was definitely more
fun.
Yeah, where people are like quote going like Jonathan was talking about the whole like
he's cute,
cute and that kind of stuff. I think for the parking lot stuff, hopefully it will kind of divert to that and being at the mic because the audience is going to like not know what's going on. Like
that's fair. I think my perception of it's a little warped because this is my first time having fun.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Just sad, right. but like my first time like being able to just relax, whatever.
Oh, I see.
So I'm getting a different perception of it, but
yeah.
I think I'm excited about the vibe, at least so far, because when new people come, it's not gonna be as inviting as it used to be.
I see.
I think people are gonna want to earn their stripes a little more, which feels probably good ultimately.
So it's gonna be Chatterbox, in other words, because that's what Chatterbox is like a lot of times.
Clearly, I need to go to the Chatterbox. Is it?
I think I think there's the guy who runs it. It's currently it's like he's I don't. To my knowledge, he hasn't started running it yet. So Steve Hernandez, by the way, is the one who runs it. He hasn't started it up yet, I don't think. So yeah, that very much has a kind of because everyone he has a Sunday show. He would have a Sunday show before the pandemic. Everyone to get on it and stuff. So they would kind of like go in there and then they do stuff and whatever, and people would listen. And some people would be outside, kind of whatever, joking around with each other. So yeah, I think with the whole inviting thing, I think one thing good. It sounds like you're not. You said you're going to stop giving people like advice right at the bat, right?
I'm not gonna. If you ask me for advice, I'll tell you, but I'm not saying shit.
Yeah, I think it's probably best, honestly, because it's everyone's doing their own thing. They're going through their own process, whatever. I mean, somebody like George said, someone could be doing it for 10 years or whatever, or someone could just be goofing off the mic too. Like I know with every mic I would do something like before the pandemic, I do something different at every mic. Worthington's, I would try new stuff, work that out. Hideaway, because there was kind of a crowd, maybe I'd try to do some older stuff. And then Wednesday, I was doing Water Wheel. I was hosting that in Norco, so I was hosting that. I was trying to get better hosting. And then I would kind of do some new stuff there, too. And Chatterbox, I would then... So that's the thing. It's with this, I'm trying to, I'd always pick a mic where I would, write, where I'd always be encouraged to write new stuff, and that's where I would try to break it out or try it out, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think with... and, if they stick around and it works out for them... Because I asked a lot of advice when I started becoming consistent, but I think the best advice I could have given myself is only just keep going up, keep doing it. That's the best thing. And I almost think you also don't want everybody to be cookie cutter too. Some comics would come in and then other comics give them advice. I'm like, no, let them do their thing. Kind of let them, because everyone should figure out their own process. There's some voice too. I feel like if you're getting advice from maybe the same person, you might sound like them or whatever,
Yeah, I agree. I think at the time my mentality was so community centered.
Yeah,
my whole mentality.
You want to get people to be better.
I'm like,
exactly.
Fuck, everyone's got. And I wasn't thinking about me. I was thinking about this community, and in turn, it's just forcing too much on other people and just let them do their thing.
Yeah, because I think you have the right intentions, but I think for the end goal, how they get to where you want them to be, they're gonna have to do that on their own.
Honestly, I don't even give a fuck where they want to be anymore. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But
right.
We talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but how does it feel to be known in the IE? Because I know that's a weird question. No, I'm not. How does it feel to be famous, Nick?
Famous. Take
your dick out. Let me see this thing. No.
Well, I'm at shows. Someone has a camera. No pictures, please. I have my sunglasses on usually. I'm no autographs, please. And it's okay. I'm just signing for the food.
What is it? Because you started. I mean, you Drake style started from the bottom. No.
Yeah.
But you did start. You came in.
Yeah, just started doing it. Yeah.
You started doing it. What does it feel like when recognizing the fact that every comic in the IE knows Nick Laney?
Well, the IE is kind of it is a small community. I'll say that, So I think, I don't know, maybe being clean and not, I'm definitely going to stand out from everybody, doing.
I don't think you give yourself enough credit. Because I personally don't think that there is a mic from fucking Pomona to the high desert that you could show up to and ask someone, hey, do you know Nick Laney? And nobody there knows Nick Laney.
Thanks, man.
I'm not even blowing smoke up your ass. I think that's a fact. Yeah. Whereas, I know there are plenty of open mics that you go to and you ask, hey, do you know who George Ferrito is? And you're like, who? That Mexican? No.
Yeah.
It's different.
It's hard to describe. I know, on this podcast network, I feel like the dope fish of the dope fish is he's
he sounds like a dope fish.
Okay,
if I'm being real.
There's a computer game I grew up with called Commander Keen, and there was this character called the Dope Fish, and it became a gaming secret. Games would reference him. You'll find him in all kinds of games. So I feel like that on your pod. I'll be brought up.
You're the Pizza Planet truck.
I'm the dope fish of the.
You always get brought up. Always talk about Nick Laney.
Yeah, I listen to half your podcast to see if I get brought up or not.
You always
I didn't get brought up. Turn it off.
It's funny, man. That actually kind of goes to the other question I had, which is where the fuck do you find time to listen to all the podcasts? How many podcasts do you listen to? Yeah.
Let's see. I haven't listened to as many more.
I don't blame you.
I was working with a lot with Gerardo and Josh Michaels. They were doing their podcasts and stuff like that. I was helping working with them on a lot of that stuff. The pandemic is with the pandemic it's harder because of work. I would listen to it when I was working, but it's when I'm hearing people talk, I kind of want to stop what I'm doing and listen what I'm doing. So not as many. I know with your ACMMs they are short, so that is kind of you can just kind of listen to those or whatever. I haven't been listening to as many since probably since the pandemic started because the work was crazier. But yeah, your Buddycast, your Buddycasts are great. It's always cool to hear, people have to say and stuff like that, and then every now and then it's kind of hey, I think I have time to listen to this or whatever. I have been doing some more creative stuff during the pandemic. There was an art project I've been working on. So when I'm working on that, it is easier to kind of listen to a podcast because you can kind of work and then you're not. Whereas I'm doing Excel or whatever, it's kind of hard to, so answer your question. Yeah, it's, every now and then, if I feel like I have time, I can listen to it, if it's a slow day, I can kind of listen to it, So yeah, your ACMM, because I like, there's a really good period in your podcast where you're really going over your process and how you're kind of, it feels like it kind of fluctuates between like process, what's kind of going on in your life, what's going on in the scene. Of course, during the pandemic, it's a lot more of your life and stuff. And of course, the street stand up and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I guess with the ACMM, it's been weird because it's just tandem of working on myself mixed with comedy, and they're kind of going parallel. But with the Buddycast, I always like learning about people and in ways I didn't expect. Like with
I see. Yeah,
Frankie Oy. I had no fucking idea he was damn near a professional soccer player.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Yeah, that's what's cool. Yeah, you listen to it. Like,
yeah, and he doesn't seem.
He just got hurt.
Yeah, that's all. He just got hurt. He would.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like life set him up to do that. He was there, and he just got hurt.
I think that's the thing about, again, like judging, like seeing people just at a mic. You're like, oh, you would think, oh, he's just a guy who drives a truck, and then he just, does comedy. Like, no, he had a whole other life outside of this.
And I didn't realize how. I should have as soon as he bought the fucking van, but I didn't realize how driven.
Oh, I see.
How competitive and driven Frankie is.
Again, yeah, I think it's where you see people, again, what shows you see them on, that kind of stuff too. So.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if there's. I don't even know where I'm going. Was I set, George? I tap you in. We're doing Hardy Boy style. Go for it.
I guess the whole fame thing. It doesn't feel like that because it just every day to day. It just feel like I'm going to a mic. I'm trying my new stuff out. Like I don't have people, walking up to me and go, "Hey, it's you," whatever.
Yet, give it time.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Speaking of time. Do you have a 5-year plan, or now that?
Let's say 5 year. Yeah, with the pandemic, I think at the beginning, when the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, okay, my 5-year plan stops at the pandemic. I think things are kind of. Even then, I'm still writing, stuff like that. I'd say 5-year. Let's see. I'd say for year plan, because I break it down by year. So by year plan, I'd say every year I want to come up with new 10 minutes, and this has been harder because I haven't had the full year to do that. I think even a full year. Like I love Mike James. He was saying he wanted to come up with like a tight 30 as a goal of his. And I was like, okay, start with 10. Like start with 10 first.
You hear that, Mike James? You bitch.
Like start with 10 first, just because it's so hard, especially to have a tight. To say I'll come up with a new 30. I mean, that's easy. You can write. Doesn't mean it's gonna be funny. You can write a new 30 every day. Whatever. But yeah, they do. So for me, just kind of do it. Even if it's not a good 10 per se, I think as I keep doing a new 10 that I feel good about, then my nugget, if you will, 10 will get better that one I do if I do a book show, whatever. So yeah, every year. So for 5 years, that for sure. Definitely want to do like club spots, but not as like a bringer show. Like it'd be cool to do the improv where it's like, hey, you want to do time at the improv, but
like a real
where you don't have to bring people per se, and then. But even the improv, I see that even further off because I've kind of looked into how you get in different clubs. Like I did Flappers right before pandemic. Like that was kind of cool to kind of break into that.
The bringer thing. I remember George saying this a while ago that technically every show.
So whatever it was right.
Oh yeah, as far as marketing people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should market. Yeah, you should have a fault.
I think there's a difference between because what he said before was that every show is a bringer show in the sense that your job is to attract an audience, and I get that. But there does seem to be a difference between a bringer show and a show that you should be bringing. Does that make sense?
I think there's a difference between a bringer comic and a bringer show. So I think we should probably be all bringer comics, if you will, in the sense that we should all be looking for trying to get a fan base, trying to attract people to come to our shows, and not non-comics basically. Try to make our comedy marketable where people want to see us and go. Even they just see a video on Instagram, like I want to see that live. I want to see that for 10 minutes even, and drive out the shows. Like. I mean, I've invited people to shows like say in Corona or whatever, but they're gonna go all the way to LA or whatever. That's where you want to get a fan base where you kind of roll with that. I think with a bringer show though, it's kind of like there's that thing. You're getting booked because you're funny or because you're bringing people, and there's always that, and that would be always in the back of my mind if I did do a bringer show or whatever. I think no local show like around here should be a bringer show because we're all. I mean, and that's the other thing too. Like when I was doing the mics in Norco, I'm like, this is a good opportunity to market because right before the pandemic, there was some people in the audience. They said, hey, if you just market this mic better, if you go to because we were doing on Wednesday, going during the weekend, just pass out flyers, say, hey, we're doing comedy night on the week in the middle. Like then you can say you're getting some marketing chops to get people to go to open mic where they don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, show up Saturday night and be like, hey, there's a show here on Wednesday.
Exactly. So that was kind of the plan right before pandemic. So I think with marketing, like we should all get our marketing game up more, and that's what I was trying. trying to do with Instagram and Facebook, get more clips up, and then I was trying to get subtitles on clips and stuff like that too, so they don't, they can just watch it, whatever.
Do you were saying a fan base? Are you? Is that something you're thinking about right now?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you go about building a fan base so I can steal your ideas?
Steal my ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think every audience is different. The Hideaway, the Hideaway audience is different than the La Pasita audience. The La Pasita audience, if people are sitting outside, they want to hear comedy. So they're more likely, whereas like the Hideaway, it's like, hey, we're having a birthday party, you're crashing here with all your stupid jokes or whatever. Let's see. So fan base, I think.
Be funny.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to, realistically.
Yeah.
I think it's how you're marketing.
Because, all right, let me clarify
Okay.
my statement on bringer shows. It's not that I have any problem with bringer shows, and yes, I do think every show is a bringer show. But if you're going to participate in a bringer show, you better be funny.
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem is a lot of times you go to a bringer show and there's a lot of people that unfortunately aren't funny, but they brought people, so they get to keep going. Like, if you're going to bring people, fine, but be funny. I think that's rule number one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Across the board, how do you find fans? Be funny. How do you get on shows? Be funny. Like,
I agree. When you said that's rule number one, I agree. I think that saying rule number one implies there are other rules. So I think that the top one of rule number one, be funny, I agree.
Yeah.
And then in terms
I don't know if there are any other rules besides be funny.
for me, like the Instagram, my Instagram was dog shit. Like it was sloppy and not to say that everything else I don't do is sloppy and stupid, but I've been working on all right, how do I present this in a way that's a little more professional?
I think it's how you're,
To me,
That's not about comedy anymore, though.
Yeah.
I think the rule and the only rule in comedy is be funny.
It's about the comedy. It's the career part of comedy.
That's marketing.
Well, I've also thought of it too. Let's say in Missouri or something, there is the funniest comic of all time in Missouri, but no one even knows about him. Like, that's the thing too. There can be people who are the funniest person of all time in the country, in the world, and no one even knows about him. And that's like marketing, where marketing does come in, like people being discovered, people seeing you. But yeah, your number one rule should be, that's how you do get a fan base. But as far as
sustainable fan base.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
See, I told you. I'm right.
I think
all the time.
All right.
So like the street, you're trying to get people to, you see people, because like me and Johnny Gold, we went to see you on the street, whatever. We saw people are talking to you. So the question is, the people passing by, seeing you do your thing, are they going to come out to an improv show? I think that's kind of where you see, okay, this is where just passers-by or incidental audience becomes actual fan base, I would say, when you gain, that's how you would know you're getting traction. People are actually they're going to spend money, because, the improv is like,
it's a whole thing.
Even if you get in for cheap, you still have to do like 2 drink minimum, whatever.
The reason I think I look at it a little differently is from the street stand-up is like seeing that part of it is, a big part of it has to be skill and be funny, be interesting, be all of those things. I don't think that you can replace be funny.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That is number one.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
have to be good at what the fuck you're doing. But from what I've seen, there are other, and I guess if you want to word it as marketing, that's fine. But that marketing goes under the umbrella of being a professional comedian. Marketing yourself is part of that to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it as, what other angles can I take other than work on my game, which is number one, but there's other things I can do. That's what my thought process is.
I think, because I know Mikey McKernan, he was telling me, because he would do Kill Tony, and he said people invited him to do shows out in the Midwest or whatever. So I think that's kind of, I think definitely, I think anyone can get a fan base through the internet. I think that's the big thing, I think that's really where it's going to be.
I agree.
Well, that's where we're going to see you. I think the most.
I feel like, and this is almost the total antithesis of Aaron's theory, but again, you have to focus on being funny. And I think
good. Yeah.
Even with the internet that exists, the internet just gave us a starting point now. Now we have a zero to start from, and now you have a platform to market yourself, but so does everybody else.
Yeah,
so if everyone else can market themselves, the people that are going to pop are the people that are funny.
Yeah. Oh,
the people that aren't funny are not going to make it. They'll make it to a certain point. So it's like,
but then
it's a time thing, Like it is a slow process, because you were talking about, you want a new 10 every year, and I know some people might scoff at that, but realistically, that's kind of a lot of people's. That's my timeline,
right?
Like my, what I would call my tight 10 now is from 3, maybe 4 years worth. Where at one point I was doing 45 minutes with
Right.
part of that tight 10. I could do 45,
Oh,
but
that's cool,
I
yeah.
took the meat out of that, and it became 10 minutes.
Right. You can,
So it's like 10
that's it.
minutes a year is perfectly doable because that means you're going to be probably have an hour of shit.
Yeah.
And so it's time. There's no shortcut. There's no
Right.
technique. There's no angle because
Exactly.
you have to get funny. To get funny, you have to go up. To go up, you have to put in the work. You have to write jokes. Like there's so much more encompassing that you have to be funny. I don't know if you heard what I was saying.
Yeah.
I got the tail end of that.
Just that like there's no
Shortcuts.
no technique anymore. Like he was saying, you can market yourself on the internet now perfectly, but so can everybody else. Everyone else has the same tools and the same, we start at zero, but the people that are going to make it past where that's going to make it is the people that are funny.
I agree. And I think that's, sorry, man, I don't want to
Oh
interrupt.
no! If you have, I would just want to say, if you have two people that are like equally funny, though, I'd say the one that's going to make it more is the one that has a better marketing game. That's the thing too. When you do compare people who are, let's say, they're just the funny is equal to each other. You hold that constant, whatever. Like their marketing, they're gonna get better through marketing. Because even let's say, how I remember Clark that one time, he was the head of the Improv. He came by the Getaway, and we asked him, how do you get on like improv shows? He said, okay, you either like somebody, which again, like you don't have to be funny. There know
It's
somebody.
only going to take you so far.
Yeah, and it's only going to take you so far. Says, or you have a clip that goes viral and people want to see that. So that's, I think, where a fan base kind of goes into, So
I think that I think ultimately when it comes down to it, George and I agree, and that seems to be a consistent. Like when it comes down to it,
Right.
George and I agree. I think on like just perspective and the way we go about things is a little different, but I do think that just being funny, being good is paramount. It's just for me, I think that there's also skill in maybe because I went to college for shit like that. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe college did do something, but
I think because shows, what are they? I don't know. There's a myth. Maybe it's a myth. Maybe it's not. Like the old days, like, okay, let's say supposedly you went on Johnny Carson's show, whatever.
No, we're going old school.
You're going old school.
Okay.
Yeah, you do your set, whatever he has, you sit on the couch, whatever, you've, quote, made it. But at the same time, though, you've now exposed yourself to a mainstream audience, which is TV. I am having a hard time wondering. I'm wondering if people get famous or get a following through stand-up comedy. Because a lot of people who have made it, they got it through another medium per se. Like Joe Rogan's really famous for his podcast, yeah, and then he was on other shows and stuff like that before that too, yeah. So if you break down like Johnny Carson thing, yeah, he happened to have the biggest comedy show on TV and there's only like 3-5 stations back then too. So everything was funneled to that show, and then he made it, So like then Leno, but once Leno took over too, he would have Conan had people on there, Leno had people on there, David Spade has the Lights Out show. People have gone on there now, and now it's like it's just a drop in the bucket now for a lot of them. Now I'm not trying to discard it. Like that's still awesome. Like that is something definitely in your belt notch, if you will. That's awesome to have done that, but it's not going to make or break your career now.
There's no more. Oh, he got a sitcom.
Yeah, right.
There's no more of that.
Exactly.
It is.
There is now. He's like, oh, he's on Vine, or he's on TikTok, or
Right.
he's on YouTube. That's what that is.
I think. Yeah.
But even that's a grind to getting to that. Well, no, I guess getting a sitcom's a grind too.
Even if you think of the special, like HBO, people will, from what I understand, people get an HBO special because they've made it to the top of their career. Yep. Let's say Whoopi Goldberg. She's famous, whatever. She's done movies. Hey, let's do an HBO special. You do an hour or whatever. Now people are doing specials on Netflix or YouTube, whatever, to get famous. Now it's like, this is how I get my name out there.
It's an
so it's
advertisement.
reverse. Yeah,
it's trippy.
So
what do you think your fan base, like the people, the ride or dies, what do you think they are? Who do you think they are? Who gravitates towards you?
I don't feel like I'm farther enough along to make that determination. Yeah, I think when I'm at the Improv and I have 50 people coming to see me, that's how I know. Okay, this is, like I said, that's how you know it translates. When they come to see you, they're willing to throw down
money,
$30 to see you at the Improv. That's your fan base, and I'm not expecting that to happen again for say 10 years. Or let's say I'm 2 years now consistently, 8 years from now. So I'd say by 10 years by now, I should at least be working on that.
Your resilience and patience is incredibly respectable.
Oh, thanks.
Like that, but that's something that comics. I had a dude, and I said this to Will, and it still baffles me. I had a comic say to me, "Oh, it's not about being funny.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what the
yeah.
fuck? What are you in? What?
I mean, because I've heard
There are plenty of comics that feel that way though.
like
Plenty of alt comics too. That like, you know, if you tell them I'm, you know, they're like, why do you go up? And I do it to make people laugh. They're like, but the laughs don't matter. And I know there are plenty of, I wouldn't call them alt comics anymore because there are just people that consider themselves comics that feel that way.
Yeah.
And I don't agree, but I get it. They're talking about art and the craft of comedy of like, you know, does a painter paint to show people? Does a painter paint because he likes to paint?
Yeah.
And so I get it from a pure standpoint, but you know, sharing your perspective of like, it's still a job, it's still a comedy career that like there is a goal. If you're gonna, but I guess if you're not doing it as a career, then by all means do what you're doing. But then again, that's not what an open mic is. It's not. That's not for you.
I have two things on that. The first thing is the guy who said it was not alt. He was a hustler.
Okay, for you. Because I know I know plenty of comics that have that purist view of like, I do this for me.
Yeah, the other parts of the conversation.
I think they're wrong, by the way, but you're entitled to your opinion.
I've never met. I don't think I've met an alt comic that way, but I have met hustler comics who this is doing 3-card Monty. This is about like get the followers, get the likes, get that paper, get that guap. That's that mentality.
Right.
I don't think I've met somebody like that. That's interesting. I've never. That's strange to me. But then the second thing was something, and I forgot.
Well, I mean, how do you think? I mean,
yeah,
are those purists wrong? Are they right? I mean, do you relate? Do you not relate? Do you relate, Nick Lenny? Nick Lenny seems like a grinder. That's why, you know. Not that you're not a purist, but there's certainly a flavor to a lot of people's approach, and yours is like, I'm here. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna record. I'm gonna do my due diligence, and I'll get good when I get good. Like, I respect that.
The philosophy of like it. I think that they're right in the sense that yes, this is an art form, and if you're happy doing that, then you're happy doing that. I think they're wrong if you're looking at all of this as a career. If you're looking at this as a career, I think that is wrong.
I also think I'm wrong though when I say that the open mic is not for you, because I take a very, it's personal for me. You know, it's job. It's like I go there to work, so I think everyone else should go there to work.
We're putting all so much time into it. That's fascinating. Sorry.
Like I think I very much choose because like when I technically started in 2008, and I was doing it like I wasn't consistent. I was doing like 6 mics a year because I was in college. I'm like, well, at the very least, by the time I'm out of college, I'll at least have built something. And a lot of the jokes, like some of my opening, closing jokes, I wrote those when I first started. So there was a church that would do an open mic, and you know, like the
balls on this guy doing an open mic at a church.
He ends with God bless you.
Oh yeah, right. So I had, you know, I took like all the material written at the time, you know, and then the set went well, and then I came back second time I came back there, like I practically bombed, and I'm like, okay, I need a new process. So I think that's what, even though I came to the mics, I'm going up, I'm getting more performance experience by doing the mics now. I figured out, okay, this is how I go here. Maybe I try a joke out here, and then I go to this audience, and then I kind of know their reaction. So that's kind of like, that's what's great about so I'm very much picking and choosing. Like if a mic is only of comics, I will kind of like, okay, I'm getting performance experience. Like if that's all there is, I'm going to do that. But if there's a mic where like, okay, there's people here, maybe I won't do it every week, but okay, like I'll come up with my best jokes and bring that here, see how and then those jokes get further developed. Because to me, it's all about how does the material develop further. So that's how I pick my mics too. So I
feel like my material has moods. Because sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's a new mic, I'm going to bring out my A game. And then it doesn't go well. And you're like, well, I'm going to kill myself. Cool.
Yeah, I've been there.
Has the world affected you all that much?
As far as
just the way you approach comedy or life or your personality, has the world like the way?
Are you saying like the state of the world right now?
Yeah, the state of the world.
The state of the world
Situation we're all in at the moment.
Or it's like the planet that he's been on his whole life. Yeah, of course it's affected his decisions.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it has, because you know everything is chaotic right now and stuff like that. Because you know, like not going out during the pandemic, that kind of stuff. I'm like, well. But I think with me, I always try to take every situation and go, how do I make the best out of the situation? Okay, I can't go out now, but I need to make the most out of this. I need to write. If I'm not coming to the next mic that's open, whatever, it could be 3 years from now. There's a pandemic. We don't have another mic for 3 years. I need to have 3 years worth of material to just start spewing out there and trying out,
Where did you get that mentality from?
I guess there's the whole, I guess if you want to break it down even further, there's optimism, there's pessimism, I guess. There's that. When I was in teens, I used to be more pessimistic. I used to worry about things. I thought, I'm going to freak out. Like, if I stay in this mindset, if I always assume the worst, and I think that's a natural state for a lot of people. It's just, so I think optimism is a choice, honestly. I had to just make a decision when I was in my teens. Like, I need to just start, I have to be positive, or I will go crazy.
Was there a catalyst that made you become more positive? Was there like a moment?
Not necessarily, but
he was filling up his glass with water.
Yeah,
and he stopped halfway. And
I
he was
mean,
like, I could keep going.
I mean, if you're in, like, well, like I was in college. I mean, I was in high school in like 2000. There was there was a lot of stuff going on. I mean, 9/11 happened not that long after and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's just if you watch the 6 o'clock news and that's all you watch, you're gonna think there's a serial killer right around the corner ready to kill you and that kind of stuff. So I think it's all you interpret everything. You're like, okay, this is bad. It's not a good situation for me. How do I stay safe? How do I make the best out of it? How do I make
part of growing up then?
Yeah. So like, even when I was like in 2012, I actually I got pneumonia really bad, and so I had a blood clot in my lung. I was in the hospital for 3 days, I want to say, and even then I'm like, I gotta like write. I should be writing material this time. That's kind of, I would, anything. So that's the thing. It's
etching on your bed, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You are a deceptively tough person.
Oh, thanks.
That's like there's there's I feel like the dudes that are like, yeah, man, I don't give a fuck, whatever.
Yeah. And then someone claps during their set. And they're like,
yeah. Someone heckles them and they fall apart.
Right. All right, I'm not going to this place anymore.
I have a new favorite question for this podcast.
Okay.
What for your style of comedy,
mm-hmm.
What do you like the most about your style and what do you like the least, or what do you think needs the most improvement?
What needs the most improvement? I need to get on stage more, definitely. I still feel like, I've been doing 2 years.
Shut the fuck up, dude. You need to get on stage more.
I mean, the style itself.
How do you extend the week? Jesus.
Okay. Like you're
okay.
What you do on stage, what do you think is your favorite part and your least favorite part?
Okay, I guess I should clarify. As far as years, because I look at it now like I've been doing 2 years consistently, I try to get up all the time, but you look at someone who's been doing it, like Johnny Gold, you look at him, he's doing 17 years, you're like, okay, that's still, like, to us, that seems like a short period of time. I mean, I started in 2008, so, like, I think you've mentioned you have a catch-up mentality. I have a really bad catch-up. Like, I need to do this, I need to catch up and everything, but even then, you look at the famous ones. The famous ones have been doing it 30 years, and before I answer your question, like, another part of that mentality comes from, like, when I was younger, I used to draw every day. Get better at drawing. I wanted to be a Disney animator at some point. Of course, Disney killed all the hand-drawn stuff. But that mentality...
If you want to make a shitty reboot, they're hiring.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Fucking every day.
If you want to make something that's going to go on VHS.
Right, yeah, right. So like when I would draw, I'd get, well, for one, I saw a guy at my high school. He said, if you want to get better at art, you gotta decide to yourself, how much do you want? How bad do you want? So that really helped me. That's with comedy. That's, again, like, how bad do I want this? Do I want to do this for a living? That's,
It's weird. I want to do it for a living, but I don't want it that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think even Gabriel Iglesias, he was talking on Joey Diaz's podcast. He was saying he sacrificed so much. I mean, you look at him, he's just, watch his comedy. He's fluffy. He talks about tacos. He talks about, all this, like,
a lot of
funny
personal problems.
Yeah, but he goes through a lot of.
I don't know about this.
A lot. Just life.
If you listen,
girls, fucking kids, like everything.
Joey Diaz, the Joey Diaz podcast, he goes really, really into about where, like, his family started, like, oh, you're famous now? Here, I kept asking for money and stuff. Like, it's crazy.
Normal hood rat shit, but, like, he's fluffy.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you
You think he's a very happy-go-lucky guy, but no, he had to go through a lot of stuff. So,
pain, yeah.
So for, like, going to the back of the drawing thing, like, by the time I was in my teens, people could look at my drawing and go, okay, that's pretty good, whatever. But I knew I've been doing it. So if I started, like, when I really started, like, I draw every day 8 years old to, like, I'm in my teens, like, again, I know that's like that was an 8-year process. Like, I know with comedy, this is going to be a long process. So I just want to clarify that, like, I just know it's going to be a long process. Just because other creative endeavors, that I've done, I just know that, like, to really get good at it, you have to do it just consistently.
So you're emphasizing that with this question, you're talking about right now, and that in the future that's going to change and is going to develop. Is that what you mean?
Well, I said when you said, what do you
like the most about your style and least about your style?
When I said least, and I said I need to get up more, and then you said, well, how do you get more? And to me, I think it's how much you get up, but also how long do you stretch that out? Because even a comic, say they get up every day, like 24/7, then, but if they don't keep that for a year or like to 10 years, so least, so
I mean more, so like what I dislike about my style the most at the moment is that it goes down a train of too much darkness and not enough levity.
Oh, I see.
That's my style. That's
Gotcha.
a style thing that I need to tweak.
I see. Gotcha. Okay. How about you, George? What would you say?
About Aaron's
Or
style? I just don't like it in general. All of it.
Okay.
Everything that I do discusts George.
Do you have your own thoughts about your own style?
I don't think about it that way, though. I
okay.
don't view it. I relate to the grind mentality of comedy, and I don't respect anything more than that. But I'm also a purist at heart in the sense of like I am doing this for me. It's not necessarily the style I'm trying to develop, but it's now just George on stage. It's not a what do I need to fix? What do I need to do? Like this is just me.
If you're yourself on stage, that's the best thing you can be.
Yeah.
I think, and this is what I mean by we're, at the end of the day, we agree, is because I'm, like I was saying, tandem, who I am as a person is what I'm working on.
Right.
And it's connected to my stand-up. So when I say that about my style, I'm technically saying that about just me.
Right.
So that's, we agree.
I guess for me, it's more, I do feel I'm big.
Oh, wait, no, I answered this question last time. I will answer, though. I'm quick.
Oh.
I know that off the top, I'm...
Oh, I see. As far as
positive.
Oh, I see. Positive.
Yeah, that's what I like. It gives me the room and the brevity to kind of just play.
Right.
It's like if shit falls apart, I'll be fine.
So, right. I would say it
falls apart every time.
For style, I want to write more nuanced jokes. I want to write longer bits. Because I start with a whole set of punchline thing. Like so that's why all my older material is more like that, because it's just, I would go on these message boards and people would post these jokes, whatever, and they're like, this is just the premise. You need a punchline. So I start to think to myself.
It's just Aaron responding to your posts.
Right, yeah.
You need jokes, bro.
Right. And I'm like, what is the punchline? How do you write that? So very, very early on, I just did set a punchline.
Oh, please tell me. I'm still looking too, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, so that was kind of, so I'm like, I do have some shorter stories. For a while, I thought, well, I could build a story through set of punchline kind of stuff, because then, you kind of, because they say with a story, you kind of want to pepper stuff in, whatever. So, yeah, I want to write longer stuff, I want to write nuance. That's my style. I feel like it's a little too brief. Maybe I need to delve in topics more. And I would say for me, I feel like I do go too fast on stage. I do want to slow down more. As far as my style, what I like about it, I would say I'm becoming more and more myself on stage. I'm the person off stage is becoming the person on stage.
I agree, and that's kind of what I was talking about in the beginning of, like, there's nobody that doesn't know Nick Lanny. Like,
thanks, man. Yeah.
You have a very specific brand and quote unquote style to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah.
So
I would say people that say you're funnier off stage and on stage, all of us, what we're bringing on stage is what we think is funny. So when someone tells that, like, that, no, that's what you think is funny about. So if someone people have told me that, like, when I first started, you're funnier off stage, it's like, no, you're telling me what you think is funny about me. But what I'm bringing to stage is what I think is funny. So that's the thing. Any comic that hears that, you need to keep that in mind, that, like, they're just telling you, they're projecting what they think is funny about you to them. But you need to bring what you think is funny on stage the most. So, do
you view yourself as, like, an artist? I know comics get weird about that.
Yeah, an art. Yeah, I do. Yeah, because I do look at the art form. I do. How do I take my comedy to the next level? How do I write a more nuanced bit? How do I delve into something deeper? And that to me is a real artist approach.
I have a real question, because I do kind of want to work this out mentally now, and I'll think it out loud. But do you guys think there is a difference? Like, does it have to be a craft to be art? And can a craft be a craft and not be art? Like, are those two mutually exclusive, or do they have to be together? Because I don't consider myself necessarily an artist, but I do respect the craft of comedy.
Why don't you consider yourself an artist?
Because it's stupid. I have a joke about trying to not shit my pants. Like,
oh, I see.
I'm not.
Right,
I'm
yeah,
not talking necessarily about anything. What I'm going for is like it's a form of escapism, I would say.
But again, that's what your brain is. What you think is funny too. So
you're talking
like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So like for instance, what I really learned was taking art, looking comedy as, let's say, a painting. For instance, if you draw like, if you draw like a cartoonish looking thing, that's what you want to bring. That's your art. Or someone wants to do a Van Gogh kind of thing, that's their art too. So,
it sounds like you're talking about the difference between what's considered low art and high art. So high art being the loo and low art being graffiti. They're both art, but you view yourself as being the graffiti, not the loo. Is that what you mean?
I guess, yeah.
And again, that to me is just style.
That to me still makes you an artist. It just makes you an artist that is not respected amongst pompous rich people.
Yeah, right.
Fuck, they pay good money for tickets.
I know. I wish more pompous rich people
like
like
$200 at the Greek. Fuck.
like if you hung out an open mic at the at the Beverly Hills Country Club, they may say to you, "Hey, when you talk about finance, that's great. That's funnier to me off stage than when you go on stage and you talk about your life or whatever."
Yeah, they do have a very specific sense of humor at a country club.
Yeah,
I've done comedy club at a country or comedy at a country club. Right. It's not fun.
Yeah, so again, it's just everyone has their own what they think is funny and what they think about is funny about you, whatever, that kind of stuff. So yeah, but the artist, the craft. So how do you define the craft of comedy? Like when you say you respect it, what do you mean by that?
Approaching it with respect, treating it with respect, like like a good job that you're trying to keep.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, don't wear shorts.
So you
show up in your uniform.
So you respect the comedy, but you don't have respect for your own comedy. Is that kind of you respect comedy as a whole, but you don't have respect for your own or self-respect? I don't know.
I don't even know if I hold my material or what I do in that high regard. Again, it's just it's escapism for me, and I want it to be escapism for them.
Yeah, that's the way. That's like I don't agree with this whole, because there's a whole like, oh, they need comics are bringing truth, the power. They're like these low key philosophers. Or I don't agree with that. I mean, you're in the end you gotta, like we're saying about how you have a following, you gotta be funny. Like that's the end. You have to be funny in the end. That's your goal. I mean, if you want to
I'll stick to running.
If you want to drop knowledge or whatever, be a slam poet or something. I don't know. Like
BT Dub, I don't know if you guys know this, but a poet won America's Got Talent last week.
That's awesome.
How?
He was fucking good. His name's Brandon Leake.
I mean,
Leake, and his audition poem was very political. I shouldn't say political, but he has this way. He's an English teacher, but he's a young kid, a young dude, and he has this way of making you feel exactly what he and the other people that feel what he feels feel. It's very when I saw him, I was like, this kid needs to win because he's the only one who is what you were saying, expressing himself,
right,
being his true self.
That's cool.
And making it connect with other people. He was the only. Everyone else was dancing, doing hijinks. Right. This guy was like, "Here's me. Here's my thoughts. Check it out." And
that's cool.
He fucking won. I was like, "Oh, gets to get poems in Vegas now because he gets a show."
Right.
So,
yeah, that's the thing about poetry. It's kind of like, where do you? I think with comedy, it's a little more clear cut of kind of what your goal. You gotta get laughs. With poetry, it's like you don't go off the snap. How many snaps you got at the coffee club?
Yeah, but again, with his poetry though, it didn't need it. Like when you tell your jokes, you need a laugh. You need it to really package it. But with his poems, he just read it. He didn't need snaps, and it was like, I get it, bro. Yeah, you're so fucking smart.
I think though that's So I think that's with poetry.
He's also a handsome black dude. That might have helped.
So I think with poetry, it's like what are you bringing? I mean, what you said. That's how you feel how poetry should. That's the goal. And I think what's one thing I do like about comedy. It's kind of like, because a film, it can move you, it can make you laugh, sad, cry, whatever. But comedy should be laughter. So at least that's one thing that kind of drive me to comedy was, like, I know there's a goal here, something we're kind of going after.
So you view art as different from escapism.
I think I'm more ignorant, I guess, to what art is.
Okay.
I don't have a wide, like, you know me, I like flashy, distracting shit. I don't have a deep breadth of knowledge into what makes art respectable. So I don't have a real barometer. As such, I don't really measure my material as art, nor do I think of it in that way.
Huh.
I think it's easy. I think because there is that pretentious thing about. That's the thing about comedy too. It has that like falls into that pit of pretentiousism. It's kind of like, like I have a bet about an escalator or whatever. Like someone could look at that and go, that's not. You need to be one of those serious comments. Like no, if a joke gets laughs, I've done my job in the end. And I haven't stolen anything from anybody. I've been original. It's this joke I wrote. And I'm doing it on stage, it gets laughs. That's at the end of the day. That's what, So, I mean, you can go more into it. This person's trying to connect more, or they're trying to get more emotion out of people. And if that's something you want to do, that's cool. But,
I feel like both of your mentalities are way smarter than mine because I'm going the pretentious art route of like emotions and all this shit.
And if you want to do that too, it's not my right to tell you, no, you can't do that. The thing is, I don't like.
But I want to. Deep down, I want to say that. That's the truth in my heart.
What I don't like is when pretentiousism comes to me and goes, well, this. You need to be, more observational or whatever. You need to be, calling out society or whatever. It's like, no, if I get laughs, that's what. I'm not stealing and I'm original.
I think it's about, like we were saying before, it's about who you are. How do you present who you are on stage?
Right.
And I've just come to realize, like, I'm not escapism.
Right.
I recently rewatched Black Panther, and something hits different every time I watch it. And this time it was spoken by a few characters. The line "Remember who you are." It really.
Are we talking about Black Panther or Lion King?
Black
Panther.
Remember
Black Panther.
who you are.
Because even when like T'Challa's fighting and he's about to lose, his mom's like, "Remember who you are. Show them who you are." That's the most important. It doesn't matter who's king, who's queen. This is yours. Show them that.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
the point,
like, I want to be a painter that only paints because I enjoy painting. And like, don't get me wrong. When it comes to comedy, I do enjoy crafting a joke and being like, oh, this is great. This makes me giggle. And it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's fine. But the job is to show your painting to people. That's kind of comedy needs an audience. I think that's something we can all agree on.
Totally.
Yes.
And so I don't know if I can be an artist because I think artists do just do it because they enjoy it. And while I enjoy it, that's not my goal. Spoken from an unsuccessful comedian. So maybe we shouldn't even have this conversation.
No, I think that like it's I don't know, what you're describing here is interesting because I think you're still doing art. Transformers gets on my fucking nerves. I can't stand the Transformers, but it is art.
Let's stop talking to him.
Okay.
That's what that's weird. Like escapism,
funny.
loud booms, lights, cars, muscles.
The Last Jedi? Yeah.
I love the. Well, I guess is where you kind of can go into. There's quality of low art too. There's quality of graffiti. There's quality of Transformer movies.
Yeah.
I like the first Transformers movie. I thought 2 through 5 were trash. I love Bumblebee. Bumblebee's awesome because it captures the G1. It sets out exactly what it sets out to do. And it doesn't just do it for the kabooms, whatever. Now, if you want to have a thing about kabooms and whatever, like Michael Bay, there's one movie he should direct, which he's never done, is the Duke Nukem. Like, the Duke Nukem games, like, if he did that, like, that's his right up his alley. And then...
Dude, if they made Duke black right now
and
the cops were still
Netflix,
pigs, that's fucking perfect.
That's true.
You're welcome, Michael Bay.
Yeah, so...
Jesus.
See, like, all right.
So there's quality even among a show about toys.
Yes, absolutely.
Transformer toys, you can say, no, this was trash, but this told the story it was meant to tell. Bumblebee was.
Yes. I think the difference between me and George is that, like, the art form and the craft of film, I think I have a little more experience in. And so when I'm watching Transformers, I'm seeing, like,
lens flare after lens flare after lens flare.
It's mostly the grinding noises that I'm hearing. But
well, that's the thing. For 2 through 5, I watched this too. I'm like, this is terrible. The camera jumps all over. Like, I looked at a very cinematic approach too. You can still have a well shot. You can have teddy bears walking around, and you can still have a well shot thing, and it's still a quality film per se.
It's like, okay, George. It's like if you were at an open mic and you watched a comic go up for like the second, third time, and they're getting laughs, but it's when someone's going off of momentum and he's not present, he doesn't know what he's doing the crap, but he's getting laughs.
Right.
He did it, and you acknowledge that he got his laughs, but you're also aware the mechanisms in the way that the audience isn't aware of. So when I watch movies, because I'm aware of the mechanisms, it's like I recognize what you're doing, and it is
Right.
art.
That's why my girlfriend doesn't like watching magic with me.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Wait, you know? Oh, because you are.
Yeah, I used to do magic.
That's
I was
right.
a fucking weird kid. Fucking weird. Yeah, I guess you're right. Once you see the strings, it's hard to unsee it.
Yeah.
And I guess I can allow myself to be distracted by things because I don't know it.
I'm
Yeah.
jealous of that. Like
You should be, dude. It's great. You know,
Oh,
to
yeah.
fucking
I
eat a
mean-
brownie and go to watch a Star Wars movie by yourself.
I would
Oh,
lose
yeah.
it.
Whew, my cheeks were so sore from smiling. It was such a good time.
Yeah.
What I don't know. What about you, Nick? Now that like in terms of the mechanisms versus just the reaction.
Yeah, I mean, like when I started writing, I started learning how to write jokes and stuff. Yeah, and then every comedy set I would watch, like, oh, I see what they're doing there. I see even, there's even there'd be comics that other comics idolize, and like, no, I see what they're doing, like, or whatever, they're going off.
I also appreciate the mastery of comedy because I think there is a level where you can it's like a martial art. There's a black belt level, and then there's
Right.
black belts above black belts, and there's just a certain. And then at that point, you're just undeniable. But what I appreciate about the mastery of comedy is when they're doing it, and I can't see the strings.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
When I forget, like you can always see it in hindsight, but when I'm watching it and I can't see it, good for you.
That's how I feel about Dave Chappelle. That's why he is the guy that I talk every time I watch a new special of his. The kicked her in the pussy. Jesus Christ, what a
funny.
joke! What a callback! My God.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to tell you where this is going to go.
Right.
It is like Penn and Teller if we're going to talk magic.
Right.
I've seen bits where they're like, here's what we're going to do. The nail gun bit where he's explaining it's fucking bananas.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I can watch I can watch low art air quotes and appreciate it. But it's not it just doesn't get the same distraction that it would give George. I wish I could, but I can't.
Like, for instance, so I saw Empire Strikes Back. They brought it back to the movie theater, whatever.
With young Anakin.
With the that was Return of the Jedi.
Oh, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
you're
they
right.
ruined. No,
That
I
still
would.
makes me
I probably
mad.
would. I own the theatrical cuts, by the way. That's how.
That's the way to go.
And
Fucking shadows in the lightsaber and everything, bro.
Empire Strikes Back. There was very little was touched in that one. They still had the claymation, the tauntauns he rides, whatever. So with that one, I look at the cinematography and like, this is a very, very well shot movie. There's a quality to it. And then I watch, Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, this is just Star Wars greatest hits. This is just them shaking the keys to Star Wars fans and whatever. So I can still look at that and go, for some, it could be a distraction. Hey, Lando's come back. Hey, these characters back, and now they're looking for a Sith blade, whatever. I'm like, and I can still, though, I can't get into it because even, so.
There's a laziness. Sorry. There's
Yeah.
a laziness about certain types of schlock. Like, I'll give you Transformers 1. I got you.
Yeah.
As it went on, I was like, Jesus Christ, you were going through the motions.
Transformers 2 was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I just want to say it's one of the worst movies I've
Which one
seen.
was 2? What was that one?
With the Revengers of the Fallen
it's
and his
the same.
Oh,
and Shia LaBeouf's mom
That
was
was
doing those
pretty
weed
bad.
jokes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's when I watch film, and it's still art. I can't deny it's not art, but I can see when a filmmaker's being lazy,
Right.
and that gets on my. It's like, come on, you're better than this.
Like the new Ninja Turtles movie came out, and of course the purists were like, well, it wasn't made by Michael Bay. It was like a guy who knew him, produced it, whatever. Or Michael Bay produced it, different guy directed it. And then Nostalgia.
Very good use of the shell, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Continue.
Nostalgia critic. He did like a non-nostalgia critic, like Doug. He just saw, this is a great movie, and they do this part where they beatbox in the elevator. I'm like, okay, this sounds cool. And he says the avalanche scene was amazing. I'm like, okay, maybe if someone has seen so many films. I watched the avalanche scene though. It's a camera cut. Just jumps all over. I can't watch this. Like it's
a mess.
It's too spazzy for me, and that's why I actually don't like Star Wars 2 and 3 because Episode 2 and 3, the way that because
their lightsabers only had one blade, bro.
Yeah.
You fucked up.
This is joy. It's like it's shiny. I want to watch it.
All right, check this out though. Look,
Okay.
you're going across the entire Star Wars universe,
Right.
and up until that point, you only see a double-bladed lightsaber one time, and it worked great.
Yeah.
He killed a Jedi with it,
Right.
and you never see it again. It's
Right.
not like he had to.
Right.
Obi-Wan had to break the lightsaber to beat him. Like clearly, that's a better design.
This is why I'm jealous of George. I wish when I watched movies, I was like, the shiny thing is bigger than the other shiny thing. I wish I could do
It's
that.
evidence. Look, he killed a Jedi. No one.
damn it.
Fucking Anakin was like, "You can't kill a Jedi." That's what everybody thought, and Darth Maul was like, "Yeah, check this shit out."
I'm so jealous of this. God damn it.
Because so everyone for the Star Wars, for the prequels, What would you guys say is the worst character in the Star Wars prequels?
Not Jabba the Hutt. Fucking the goddamn coon. What? The alien coon.
Padme. Hands down.
Fucking Jar Jar.
Okay, how about you?
Padme.
Anakin. Horribly written all over the place. He was a little kid the first movie, and then the second one is I'm killing sand people, and the third one I'm killing kids, and it's like okay, and then he's like, this is supposed to be Darth Vader, like join me, Luke will rule the galaxy as father and son. I am your father, like all this, like, and then it's like I killed Sam, I can't stand sand. It's like wait a minute, this is, and it wasn't even done well as a tragedy. Like it just wasn't well written. Like the tragedy is supposed to be like you're supposed to like. Now the Clone Wars TV series, I've seen that, like they kind of do that better, but.
That's because they have like 90 hours.
Exactly. They have time to flesh him out. But yeah, where he's just like all of a sudden he's like, wait a minute, I'm thinking Shakespearean. Like you can Star Wars is low art. George Lucas himself said Star Wars is a kid's film.
Yeah.
So it's low art. You're going to this low art, but you're like, no, you could still at least tap into some Shakespearean stuff. Have a character that's likable, and you see his downfall, and you feel sorry for him. But no, he's already
the execution doesn't have to be low art.
Yeah, exactly. So
you know who would have done a great Star Wars trilogy? Someone like Vince Gilligan, the guy who made Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Island. Yeah.
In fact, I look at them like, no, that's a better tragedy. Godfather is a better tragedy.
The balance of seeing someone change and shift is a hard thing to do, but when done well, it's beautiful.
Right. And he says how a good man becomes evil. That's how Vince Gilligan described Breaking Bad.
Simple.
That's how Star Wars should have been. You should have liked Anakin from the beginning and to feel sorry for him.
Yeah, you know what sucks is like they lay it out for you too with Yoda. He's like, dude, straight up, fear leads to anger.
You're right.
Anger leads to here's the blueprint.
They played the Imperial March at the end of Phantom Menace when he's like, brave.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Fucking assholes. And they didn't give Ray Park any lines, which means he couldn't really get credit for that. He was a fucking stuntman.
And then Star Wars fans who love the prequels, they're like, well, the fights are good to watch. No, they're not. They're just twirling. The Darth Maul fight was great because it was choreographed. And I love the fights in the original trilogy because it's like it feels like too real. Like if we were to go at it and they were to film it, that's what the fights are like. Darth Vader and Luke, like they're just
awkward.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's supposed to be awkward. Like Luke has never been trained, But then in the Phantom Menace, it's more stuff you expect. They're jumping around that kind of stuff because they're actually like trained Jedi. Then you go to the 2 and 3, and they're just doing this. They're like two spinning tops that happen to hit each other. You know, so. Again, and it wasn't well made, wasn't well shot. He just did CGI scenes. So again, you have low art, you have what you consider a kid's movie. Like I saw Secret Life of Pets, for instance.
Me too.
And I was telling somebody, I was like, this is I didn't think it was a great movie. Someone was like, what's a kid movie? It's like, no, there's good kid movies.
Yeah.
Lion King, there's all kinds of good
Pixar.
kids. Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, just because it's a kid's movie doesn't mean it was made by kids.
Honestly, I think when it comes to kids films, they should be better. They should try, because you're dealing with youth
and multiple audiences too. They're supposed to be friendly, like
Shrek.
Yeah, I love Shrek.
Shrek's solid.
Yeah.
Did you?
Somebody.
I have a question.
Hang on, before you do that, I would like to critique.
Okay.
While I agree that in Star Wars 2 and 3 that the fight scenes aren't as good as people say, I will say that the fight choreography is on another level because go back and watch it. No,
Nick's
go back.
I have watched it. I watched it multiple times. I've argued this on the internet.
No, I'll argue with it right now. It's fine. The problem in the choreography lies in the lore, in that the lightsaber as a weapon has no hilt. It has there's no guard. There's no way. Most sword fighting outside of katanas, which are meant to be drawn one time, get blood and put back. That's how gangster Japanese are.
Right.
Like, fucking,
yeah.
Most of the handles are there for protection and to trap. And
like they did with the Kylo Ren lightsaber.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with a lightsaber, thus making the only parry possible a flourish.
Oh, when they're doing that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you can't just block, and if he's gonna flourish and you're gonna flourish, it becomes this dance now of like.
Okay, you're breaking it down well. Okay, that's a good breakdown of it.
So
it's just not fun to watch though.
Yes, I agree. I agree in that that the scenes are fucking terrible.
And maybe
They're
they explain that.
shitty.
Yeah, they explain. But then in the Darth Maul fight, you have a very highly trained Sith Lord. He's taking on 2 Jedi. It's more paced well.
Also,
it's more fun to watch.
It should be pointed out that it's implied that at that point Qui-Gon is on the level of Mace Windu in terms of swordsmanship.
Yeah, that's true.
So the fact that Darth Maul straight
Yeah. I mean,
Over.
And they shouldn't have killed. They should have had Darth Maul throughout all. That's the whole story thing. They should have Darth Maul through all 3 movies as like the main.
What they're doing with him now is great.
Yeah, what should have been already done with him.
I agree.
They're done.
You're right.
Because with Vader being consistent through villain through all 3, it had that continuity. Like Maul, like have him come back as a robot Maul after he gets cut up. Like that would have been cool. And then you see he's the prototype of Vader basically. And then you don't even need General Grievous, whatever. Anyway, so
fucking Grievous.
Y'all got on your nerd shit hard.
He was just talking about fighting, and I have a fighting podcast, and I was like, look, I've thought about this.
Yeah. Actually, I thought of a fighting thing before you did your podcast. I thought about pitching it to you. So,
we should do it.
And you could maybe bring in the Fathletic, whatever. In The Dark Knight Returns, Batman fights.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the gang leader? I forget his name. The mutants, the mutant leader. And he's in the mud pit. He's like, this isn't a fight. This is an operation.
Right.
And he does. And someone said he does an arm bar. He pulls his arm. And I looked into him like, did he? So that's something you could go into your podcast. Did he?
I will say there isn't a lot of accurate jujitsu in Hollywood movies.
So that's what I'm thinking. You could go into that, watch that clip, and then dissect it. Is it good?
Dope.
Is it good martial arts or is it bad martial arts?
Probably bad. The only good jujitsu is like Captain America's got great jujitsu.
He did it. He did what they call an arm bar there. So he might have done it well. He wraps his legs around his head.
Look at me. That's
and pulls his head out and pulls his arm out. Okay.
Might be a triangle. Sounds like a triangle.
Okay.
I've rolled with George twice, 3 times.
I don't know.
I saw once. It was very awkward.
It's fun. It is.
It's fucking great time.
Okay, I think you had a question like.
Yeah.
Gleam in your eyes.
My perception or feeling towards the audience changed post-quarantine.
Okay.
I wonder how you feel about the audience now.
Okay, so how did it change for you?
Before, I always had an appreciation for the audience, but
you hate them.
But yeah, there was this almost disdain. There was this feeling of like when I remember going to the Getaway and always feeling like I don't want to be fucking tap dancing for you idiots.
Well, and that was the Getaway too.
Yeah,
pretentious academics. There.
It really was the vibe there too. But now it's like, oh, thanks for being here. Like thank you for listening to me, because I didn't. You don't know what you have till it's gone. Can't perform for it. Trying to do stand up on a fucking Instagram live is so awkward.
Right. Oh, I see. Yeah.
And so I just have this newfound appreciation for the audience, and I'm starting to feel, at least on the street, they have a newfound appreciation for me.
Right.
Even the ones that hate me, super engaged. They're like, I have something.
Right.
So I just wonder.
Let's see. Yeah, I've always looked at it like with the audience. I've always had a respect for the audience. Like if a joke doesn't work, in the end, you can have tough crowds. I think it's okay to say you have tough crowds, whatever, because you can look at the other, like you see a seasoned comic and even he's having trouble. You're like, okay, they're gonna be tough crowds, but in the end of the day, I do have to go back. I have to get better in some way to bring, because then you'll see some comics and it'll destroy. And I know, or I even think to myself, okay, if I was to come back to the show later, 10 years later, I'd be so much better along. I think so. There's tough crowds, whatever. My always thing has been like, if people are listening, I definitely appreciate it. And so I think my perspective's the same, but I think audiences are getting better and that they're more attentive.
They're so engaged.
They're more interested in comedy. And because a lot of times there'd be like the Hideaway, there'd be a Water Wheel, whatever. Like some of you feel you're crashing somebody's party. So if they want to listen, that's cool. If not, I understand. They don't want to listen, whatever. And like I said, there's every audience is different. If people are coming to see you at a comedy club, they're going to have a different perspective than people who, again, you're coming into a venue where they're, have their kids or whatever, and, then there's an open mic going on or whatever, So I think, so I feel the audience is the same, and I always look for the audiences where I can really work something out and try it out who love comedy, but so I think the audiences are going to be more interested, the ones who are really out. And again, like La Pasita's, the fact that you can go inside now. People who sit outside, those are the ones who really want to hear it. So.
That's what I didn't like about the Getaway, though, too, is they were like, we were here first.
Exactly.
And they just refused to go inside.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cold. You're freezing right now. Just go inside.
Or those ones where you start talking, they start packing their books up, and they're doing the laptop.
The Getaway was one of the harder, dealing with people complaining so much. But then that changes. So the question was, has your perception of the audience changed? And my logic for that was pre-COVID, I didn't have an appreciation in the way that I do now. And even thinking back to the getaway now, there's this weird feeling of like, they were there though. They were there. They listened.
Yeah.
Even when they attacked Jonathan, they were there. Even when they were screaming at Tony Ross. I can't believe.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe the amount of yelling I did at people.
See, but that's I personally don't think that that's necessarily a crowd problem. I don't think that's an audience problem. I think both of those occasions you're falling into inexperience.
Yeah, that's what I was saying
and you
too.
don't know how to approach those situations with more tact, or you that's the first time you've ever had to experience that, so you don't have that information in your brain on how to diffuse and move on. So like I don't respect necessarily the audience. I understand that you have to be there for me to have a good set, but I try to do it in the sense of like I'm just doing it, you know.
I guess I just have an appreciation for them in a way that I didn't before.
Yeah. I like I said, and like you were saying, like, 'cause I've been to some shows where, you know, I thought, okay, I didn't have the best set, but I know if I was to come back here 10 years later, I would have more experience. I have more tact, like you said, and be able to handle things better. I think too, of an open mic too, it's like, for instance, Will Henderson was asking me at Joe Beltran's mic about we're bringing Norco back, the Norco mic's back, and Water Wheel up until like, I think they might be going inside now. But before everyone was out. They had some music playing out in the outdoor patio. And I said, I don't know if I want to have an open mic out there, because I do want to give people a chance to walk away if they don't want to listen to it.
That's fair.
And have a separation,
I don't know if I'm going to Norco until shit calms down.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, I totally understand.
God damn. What is it like there right now?
It's been
quiet.
Quiet. I mean,
You guys stay out. So.
Yeah, people don't go over to Norco.
I think there's a perception though of Norco that I don't know. I mean,
I agree.
It's more diverse than people think it is. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and the IE in general has gets a lot of bad rap. Like we are arguably one of the poorest counties in the country, but we're also one of the biggest. Like
I get when people roll through Norco, they think it's a scene out of Stepford Wives or Get Out or something. But it's very diverse. I mean, it's just.
I went to a rodeo in Norco and I did not feel out of place. I will say.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mexicans like horses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean they have So
I think I'm biased from all of the negative experiences. So when I go to Norco, I'm like, get out, get out.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean,
it's a self-preservation thing for me.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
a scared puppy.
Yeah, well, when that puppy has been jumped, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like if you don't have, just like the news is they make generalizations about places. Oh, there's just all this crazy stuff going here. It's like, no, if you live there, like what it's like.
A different experience.
It's easier for dumb people to put things in a box so they can understand.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, George.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's a different thing though. You're not you don't have a box that you're putting things in. You've been given things that you have to put into your box.
Yeah,
that's fair. It's like I don't want to overgeneralize. It's a self-survival of like, if I don't generalize this.
I'm not saying everyone's been jumped, but I've been jumped. So.
Plus, you have, that's what's great about your RV. If you do come across an area that like it's not as welcoming, you can just go somewhere else, which is cool.
Dude, trying to get that RV, I'm so tired. It's so much money.
Right.
Yeah, I think you just put a propane stove in your car. There's your RV, bro. I think you're just thinking too big. You can start this right now.
Just get Frank. Just ask Frankie where he got his van.
Just park next to Frankie's van and see if you can sleep on his floor.
I think I'm just going to be roommates with Frankie. We'll see how that goes. I'll connect my car to his. We'll do a whole Mad Max thing.
It's like a Voltron they combined. And
Ooh, that makes the yellow's like the right arm or something. So,
are you guys thinking eventually like moving to LA, or what's the plan in that regard?
Yeah.
Eventually, I think because like I looked into different clubs, whatever.
I don't think for me that location is gonna make or break my success.
What do you define as success?
Just me doing comedy, getting better. Like that's my success. If I get better, I'm gonna get booked more. If I get booked more, I'm gonna get paid more. If I get paid more, then I get better. Like it's just it's a recursive loop of failure, essentially. But I don't think I have to go to LA to do that. I don't have to go to Colorado to do that. I would like to be able to go to those cities, but I don't think moving is a necessary thing. Like my goal is to be undeniable and funny, and that's good. That's the same no matter where you go.
Nick. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think for me, you moved away from where you grew up,
maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's a different perspective.
Yeah, like I don't think you would feel the same way if you were still in your same hometown trying to be the. So for me, because I'm still here and it fucking sucks for me here, I'm like, I want to go. I want to not be here. I want to be the best and undeniable somewhere the fuck else. Right. But I get what you're saying.
I kind of looked at like before, the Shrek metaphor, an onion, if you will. So I started kind of being consistent.
You really like Shrek.
I love Shrek.
Yeah.
You with army. Okay, so
ogres like onions.
Gonna
build
to keep to keep people out. Okay, so you got the onion. Riverside is the star of the onion for me. I started being consistent in Riverside, even though I technically did my first mic in Corona. But as far as in a scene, Riverside, and then, I guess like Riverside, Norco, Corona, that kind of area. And then I started doing like Hemet, like Justin Fox's stuff. Started doing, because I thought there's other audiences that I need to bounce this off of, kind of thing. So yeah, the goal is like, okay, then when I've done, so I went from, like Hemet to like Chatterbox, because again, Chatterbox is a completely different crowd. They react to things differently. So then I thought, well, maybe when 5 years doing that, and of course there's the OC. Like I was OC, San Diego, like I looked at those, like I was kind of eyeing those before the pandemic, like maybe 2 years of what I'm doing then, maybe try another 2 years there, and then go to LA. Because again, like if you look at like Kill Tony, they have their regulars. It's Lucas and there's Montgomery. Montgomery, I think he's been doing it like 10 years. Lucas has been doing it 7 years. So I don't feel I have any business trying to break into that till I've been doing another at least 5 years, consistently. And even LA, I can look at it like that too. Like if I come to LA and like I'm undeniably funny, I'm gonna go further along in LA than like, because they say like the mics you start out with, comics don't always respect you or whatever, because they're seeing you work everything out. They see you as you progress, as you build everything. So I want to go into LA and people think, oh, that guy's good. Like, not that he's building something. That's my perspective. So
eventually it's just going to be when you're ready.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because I do think with LA to get noticed, simply because, again, if you look at the perspectives of people, if I'm looking at the perspective that people do not get famous from comedy or make it, or however you want to define it, through stand-up. I think otherwise we would have all made it by now if it was through stand-up, just pure stand-up. So LA though, it has those other avenues,
like
TV,
acting or something.
Well, like there's TV. Like for instance, people who have gone further in the store, they've then gotten spots on David Spade's Lights Out. Now you have an audience on TV. Now you wouldn't have. Maybe Conan. Maybe that's where they drafted. I don't know. Maybe that's how they. Maybe, but then I think he's in New York. But so they're the ones that have the other non-stand-up mediums.
I think the modern version would be a podcast. Like getting on your mom's house would probably be the equivalent.
Yeah, that's true. Or like Joe Rogan's. But now he's moving to Texas, so
he's gone now. He's in that fucking red dome, that period blood dome.
Right.
But such an interesting visual.
Totally.
Very, very eerie.
It's different.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No?
But I don't watch it, so I just listen.
Yeah.
Oh, for the
podcast studio and
his new one. Yeah. I haven't watched it too much.
I might change. I would probably change my mind though, and I would probably like it if I could afford that. So maybe I'm just a hater. He's like, dude, I have 2 gyms in my studio. You have a kettlebell. Shut the fuck up. You're right. You're right.
Sensory deprivation tank. He's got a place for his dog to get massaged by Asian women.
I think you're right in the sense of like Nick Laney that no one really gets famous off of purely stand up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the easiest, but I think if you can get up that hill, that's the sustainable hill.
Ari Shaffir. I think he raw stand up, right?
But then he's not. Do people know him outside of stand up? I would say
now
no.
They know him as the guy who talks shit about Kobe.
Yeah, he got famous for that. Yeah,
but before that, I think he only did stand up. That's all he wanted to do.
Because I think if we're in stand up, we know those comics.
Also, Ari Shaffir is a good source of just information. Like he's released a few videos that are like 2 hours long, just talking to people about like, hey, say hi to the booker. Don't be a dick. Wait for the very professional.
That's true. I need to watch it.
How to treat this like a job because it is.
Because Ralphie May he did a similar thing too. Like Ralphie May, I think he got famous before dying, but I don't think did people know him before Last Comic Standing. I don't think so because Last
Comic Standing was his pop, I think.
Yeah. So again, it was on TV. So
who I've been really digging the way his grind is Andrew Schultz.
I don't know if I've seen him.
I don't think I've seen him. So there's a lot of comics I haven't watched, and I think Like Bill Burr, I discovered him through Conan when he would hit Conan, have him interview him and stuff. And again, let's say I think it was like 20.
You know what's crazy is some people are like, "Oh, that's the guy from F is for Family."
Yeah, right. Or that's the guy from Breaking Bad. The guy.
Yeah. Hey, wasn't he on The Mandalorian?
Yeah, right. The guy with the gun. Yeah.
He's gonna be hosting SNL.
Cool.
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
so excited.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that. Yeah, so he's building momentum, but yeah, it's like even him, did like, that's the thing. It's like fame. The fame has to be outside of our bubble of stand-up. We have people who aren't stand-ups, who've done comedy, whatever.
Have to give a shit about you.
Yeah, know who he is, so.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole fan base thing feels important. I'm a rusher. I think we're the same ilk of not catch up, but
yeah.
And I know, George, you're a little more laxed about a little more. You're very laxed about stuff like that.
You're just lazy. You're not doing anything, George.
You're out there with your kettlebells, running around in 120 degree heat. Stay hard. But the audience thing I'm having trouble with because I'm that rushing instinct.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, fuck, I need to build this.
Right.
But then I'm also like, I don't want these too many people to know who because I'm not good yet.
Right.
So
I want to be as obscure as I can for as long as I can.
Yeah.
I want to be able to fuck up.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know, I'm not that good yet where I can just come off the top. I'm quick, but it's like let me make a mistake.
I think my strategy is showing all of my mistakes and seeing the progression and learning from those mistakes. So we just have different ways of going about it. But my logic is if the audience understands, hey, I'm not a headliner, and I express that to people. That's what the ACMM is explaining. Like, I'm not a headliner. Here's how I'm learning to become one. That's how I've been going at it. But I do need to slow down on trying to get as many followers.
Yeah, the big thing is what's going to translate? What's going to... do the people who see you on the street, do you know if they listen to ACMM or?
No, I don't know. No one ever emails in.
Okay.
You should make them follow when they're like, oh, yeah, I will. It's like, no. Open your thing. I'll help you.
Hold them down.
Press the button. Yeah.
Let me see.
Hacking their phones. Like, you're following me now.
I know that some people have. I know that there are very few audience members that listen that seem to enjoy it consistently.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not nearly as much as the... I don't analytics, George. You know things, right? How?
Well, I mean, I don't follow your analytics because to gauge that you would have to see what days you go out, how many of those people said they were going to follow, and how the download / the subscriber count changed on that day.
Specifically for the ACMM, it's like 20, right? 20 people consistently watch.
That's up to you. I doubt it though.
All right. Well, regardless, I think the people that are ride or die right now get what I'm doing.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
And eventually it's just a matter of building those people who understand
more,
I've had people be like, come over and they clearly love comedy and they sit quietly.
Oh, cool.
Whereas people who don't understand stand-up always they're talking, they're being weird. And then those people that sit quietly, they'll say things like, I love stand-up. What you're doing is crazy right now.
Right.
I respect it. And then they'll leave.
It would be cool if like someone say, hey, you want to do a house show or something? And
that never happens.
And then you'd be exposed to more.
That's how you get raped, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. So I think, with the fan base, again, I think it's about bringing a product. I mean, your product is, I guess, your experience of becoming a comic, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Like, I would love, for me, if a bit, I say, to put online to go viral, like, and then I get a fan base for that way. Like, that would be awesome. That's how, like, okay, that's where I'm being funny and then getting a fan base kind of as meeting. But at the same time, though, I want to have, like, a tight 30. I don't want to just, hey, that was my only thing. I don't mean a one-trick pony. Like, hey, that was my only thing, like, that one bit. You know, they wanted them to go see me and have a decent amount of where there's other material, whatever, too.
Yeah.
You know.
You want a good volume of work.
Yeah. So it's worth, like, hey, see me do 5 minutes at, open mic, so.
It's hard. I stopped inviting people to open mics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they're always like, when's your next show? It's like, dude, every day. Or at least, at the heyday, it's like every fucking day. What do you want to see?
I only invite the book shows because an open mic is going to be... The only ones I would invite to an open mic was Back to the Grind when it used to be more of a mixed thing. Because that was more like a show where there's other people doing poetry, doing music, whatever. And usually I'd be the only comic anyway. I usually have stuff prepared. So I think, I treat it like it was a show. But now... I differentiate between an open mic and show. It's like, okay, a book show's going to be more consistent. Like, it's going to be contained. Only so many comics are going to be there, that kind of stuff,
I'm surprised there aren't more new people, like first-timers.
I mean, the only people that are doing it right now are the people that were doing it, you know? It's hard to stumble into comedy right now.
Yeah.
Fair.
And
That's
I think, so like if they, like I heard about the bite system because I did a riff off and you were hosting it. So that's how that's how I learned about the bite system. So it's like, I think they have to break into that one mic, like,
and then realize there's a whole world.
Yeah, a whole network of it. You know?
I'm just...
You tumble on that rabbit hole, Alice.
I'm just surprised that, like... well, not right now. I guess we'll see when more things open up, when there are more shows consistently. When mics are easy, when have to drive into someone's backyard.
Well, especially 2021, because a lot of people... And I didn't know this. This was never a thing for me. It's been for a lot of people on New Year's resolution to do comedy.
Dude, after New Year's...
Yeah. 2021, you're gonna get a lot of newcomers. I bet it's
gonna be crazy, and it always is.
Chatterbox, I did the first mic they did after New Year's, and it was like 40, 50 comics. It was just So
it's exciting. It's way more fun. I keep saying that, but my whole perception of all of it's changed so much. But it's way more fun now to watch people perform. Like it's not an exhausting endeavor.
Are you excited to see new people see everybody like going at it, roasting each other on stage?
I'm excited to see new, like, first fucking New Year's resolution comics come in and see Carlos Patino.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that new...
They open the door and go, okay, then we'll go to Orange County.
Yeah, like, we were at fucking Beltran's backyard,
right.
and I remember you came up and you were like, they're new, and I was like,
yeah.
There's a little bit of dust on us
because the mic they didn't move the mic. I'm like, okay, he just knows those little things. Like, okay,
and it's I think what I like about it is it makes me remember, like, oh, we're all improving. We're getting, it's not fast, but we're getting there, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I'm improving at the slowest pace. So there's
that's a good.
You're so optimistic. Fucking glass half full Lanny over here.
I think it's good to have goals though, because like I could be doing this for the next 5 years. I'm just getting up, I'm getting more experience. But if I haven't, if I'm not pushing myself, I think it was what's his name, Roy Ward Jr. He said every time you want to level up, if you don't, he said you'll fall back. I don't know if you fall back per se if you don't level up every time. But for me, I don't want to just keep doing it and not have, like I said, every 10 a new year. That's a goal for me to keep writing. And plus, I'm delving more because a lot of my stuff's self-deprecating. So I'm actually delving more and more into myself, learning about myself, and developing material that way. So
what have you learned about yourself?
Well, I would say a lot of stuff I do on stage, a lot of it is like, okay, there's like, first I was coming over here, I noticed that like, I'm not trying to do this as a bit or anything, but like I noticed like if I have too much
soda. Sounds like it, but continue.
my hand will shake if I have too much soda. I'm like, okay, that's the premise for a bit now. So I just need to think about it and how to write
that
it.
diabetes.
So,
got you. Those little minutiaes.
Yeah, about my or that is one thing that's been hard about the pandemic. Is like when let's say I'm at work, I go to lunch, I would notice something about myself, how I interact with people, and like, okay, that can be a bit. Like if I do something weird, like I'm like, why do I do it this way? Like that can be a bit.
Why do I keep stabbing people?
Yeah, right. Or something does something to me that's like, oh, they were, did something that was like weird, and like that can be a bit too. So it's just, I like interacting with people, and that's how I develop material. So that's always been harder with the pandemic.
Those minutiae are the things I'm trying to find for myself. Like,
all
of the things that I learned about myself or whatever, all these big, grand, philosophical things. But my hand shakes when I drink too much. It's like, I don't even consider information like that. I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
I train myself basically.
How'd you do that?
Okay, so just let's see. So to just like catch myself just every time you're like, I guess it's just, you just have to keep trying to be more and more self-aware and try to, I guess that's the best way. Because I know you said before, when people say things, you don't want to just like, hey, how do you do this? So I guess for me, the best way to describe it is you just want to train yourself, especially if you're taking about material, like, okay, I have a goal here. I develop material through this way. Then it's like, you're kind of like, it's like you put like a notification in your brain, if you will, to like, okay, I just thought of something. Maybe I wouldn't have thought of the handshaking thing. I would just pass it along. But because I'm like, okay, I'm developing material this way, I'm training myself to do that. And a lot of times I don't really think about it, or I think about it later or whatever. Or sometimes I'll go over an experience. Sometimes I'll wind back my interactions with people if I forget a joke to like, okay, this triggered this thing or whatever. So it's training your brain, I think, really. It's just. But it sounds like you're on the right track. But
thank you. It's the training your brain thing. That's something that takes time as well.
Yeah, definitely.
There's this like idea of when you have so much wrong with you that people are like, fix it. It's like, oh, dude, this is a lot.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to fucking help. Like, wait for a second.
Well, this is like a 2-year process because when I started to realize my process, like being self-deprecating, like especially 2 years ago when I was consistent, that's a 2-year process. Training my brain, like, okay, I'll develop material this way too. You know, so.
I don't have any more written stuff.
Okay, we've got to the list then.
You beat me, Nick.
Nick was just more prepared.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You know, and that's the craftsmanship behind comedy too, though. It's just like showing up to do something. I know I feel like I'm harping on like an old man, but when you go to a mic and you're like, all right, what else did I want to talk about? It's like, don't ask me, dude.
Yeah.
You showed up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hate that.
Know,
yeah.
You should, if you don't have anything, get off. Like, there's no, I feel like comics have a lot of pride and it's like, yeah, I never get off early. It's like, why?
I got early at Beltran's mic this last week.
Why would you waste everyone's time, not just your own, but everyone? You have nothing to work on? Go.
I've gotten off early at shows. I'm like, this is like I'm doing 10-minute set. I'm 7 minutes in. This is not going well. Just might as well give time back to the room.
Yeah,
like,
don't ask for your paycheck when you leave. You know, it's
all right.
Fucking, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I would say that I support going to the end as long as you went there to work. Like if it's like I just came to fuck around, then fair enough.
Oh yeah. Or if you're doing a show, I get like ending early because again, you want to like, okay, maybe a comic can do better than me or whatever.
I think anytime we as comics kind of lift the curtain and show the audience that there are strings behind there that are a little messed up, that's a failure. When you go up and you're like, oh, I didn't write anything.
Yeah. Or when a comic says, oh, I'm gonna do my real bits now. Like they've been riffing for like, I'm gonna do my real stuff now. It's like, or when they say, I got the light, so I'm like, no, it's like no one knows what the light is.
Because that's all that is when you start your set. It's a disclaimer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't care if you're just gonna riff today, then just riff.
Yeah. And
don't give yourself an excuse to fail.
And that's the magic of riffing too, is when people think, oh, was that written? That's when you know the riffing's good. When they think it's a real written material.
I'm gonna be a contrarian.
Okay.
I agree, but I like the idea of controlled showing the string. So in the same way with Penn and Teller, that they're showing they're showing you the strings, but they're so good that it doesn't matter. I do like the idea of that. What you guys are talking about, I think, are crutches, and you're right. But I'm still trying to figure out how to work this philosophy out. But the idea of being able to make the audience understand there's strings and I'm doing a thing right now and it doesn't matter and you're still laughing, you still even know what I'm doing kind of, but you're never going to fully get it. Like that is an interesting way to go about it for me.
Maybe might be different with magic because magic it's a visual thing. You're talking about how you're going to do it and then you visually
that's true
show it. With comedy, you're telling about it and then you're talking. You're doing it. I guess the big thing is when you're saying you're going to riff. I think that's a big thing. That's because you want to know if it's going to get a real reaction. Or not.
The person I'm about to use is just beyond us. But Chappelle's "Cook 'em in the Pussy" telling us. I'm going to tell you the punchline and then still that's what I mean. Where that's not a crutch. That's, if anything, making it harder for you.
Yeah. And
you still fucking.
Right.
Any kind of disclaimer, any kind of out, any kind of like relief valve that you need going into any sort of interaction when it comes to comedy, I feel like is just laziness.
I agree. I think the difference of what I think I'm describing is it makes the valve even tighter because you're telling them you're going to do a thing and then
it's more of a I've always related comedy with magic a lot because it's all misdirection. We're all lying to you, like you know, we're trying to hide where that punchline is going to come and go. So
right,
I relate to both. I just don't. I think in a sense of like you working on yourself, you have to think about what annoys you the most, and what annoys you the most is usually the aspect of your personality that annoys you the most.
Oh yeah,
and I hate laziness. I've said that a lot.
Yeah.
I am very lazy.
Right.
And so anytime that comes up, it's like, you drove 45 minutes to tell me you're just going to fuck around. You sat for an hour. Didn't write a goddamn thing and then have the balls to be like, I'm just here to work out some of my feelings.
Yeah.
What are you? Go home. Fucking.
Yeah. Or I do hate it when a comic is like, oh, you know, they're like, it seems like they're riffing. Like, I'm going to do some real jokes now. It's like, dude, just. Yeah.
Because like you're saying, you don't know how long that person's been doing it. If you go to a new mic and everyone kills it and not one of them went, oh, I'm working on you shit, you would probably assume that they've all been doing it for 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to tell the audience. They don't fucking care.
I know this might be controversial for some, but I've never brought up notes to when I go up because I want it to be completely spontaneous. And if I can't remember it, I got to do it on the fly. Then that that then pushes me to remember more stuff too.
Yeah, that's a good
and riff more too.
It's a good practice. I do find myself relying on the notes when I know it's there. I know I don't need it, but again, sometimes I go in lazy.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be like, oh, I didn't write anything.
The detriment of not bringing up notes is if I want to try a bunch of new stuff, I will forget. There's some I will forget. Yeah.
Dude, sometimes I skip notes. Yeah. It's like, that wasn't there when I looked at it 5 minutes ago.
Right, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, like some jokes, I'll write the premise, the punchline, and then I'll riff the tags. And, like, I think pushing myself to not bring notes, then that... Because maybe if I did have notes, I would just do the jokes and move on, that kind of thing too. Plus, it takes the audience out of it when you're like, I'm going to look at my notes now and then go back, So
it's funny because I agree with everything that you guys are saying. I'm just lazy. No, I think the street stand up has kind of not warped, but changed my perspective.
Oh yeah,
and the way I go about things and think about things because it's a different feel. Like it's way harder to do 5 minutes now.
Because you're used to having a longer time.
I'm used to so much. Like now when I go to do 5 minutes, I'm like, I have to switch the way I think about it now because it's funny, man, that I've been bombing so much.
Oh.
And it's because...
What?
I know, right? It never happens. It's impossible. My ray of sunshine every time I'm on stage. Why isn't everyone smiling? But... I think a big part of that is because when I'm on the street, that 5 minutes is a drop in the bucket to the 2 hour. It's like, that's fine. I can wade into this, and I know I'm going to have another 45 minutes of this shit, so it's fine right now.
Right.
Whereas with 5 minutes, I'm in this mentality of, oh, it's fine, and then I get the light, and I'm like, oh, shit, it's not fine.
Right.
That was bad. So I need to, I think my just perception of it's kind of changed.
To me, it's about bringing... Like, especially on an open mic, bringing new material to the stage. If it doesn't work, I need to go back and rewrite it. So I think, cause when I saw you at the street, I thought it'd be a good idea to record at least part of it. So you can kind of, you kind of kill two birds with one stone. You're getting stuff on the street, and then maybe it's something I can bring to the mics too.
I got a GoPro.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I recorded last night, which fucking Jesus. I can't wait to put those clips up. I recorded that last night. I'm going to record tonight. And
cool.
I just hate looking. It's a lot. I'm just being lazy. It's just a lot.
Right.
It happens. Do you think street stand-up is building a different skill that you can bring into comedy, or is it building your comedy skill?
Can you guys talk while I think about that? Wow.
I don't know, because I try to view it's fucking Brink. Goddamn it! It's like skating is what you do and not who you are, and so it's like to be a good skater, you got to be good at everything. To be a good comic, I think you got to be good at everything. Like when you try to advance your game, like what am I trying to advance? What are you trying to advance? Like me personally, I would say I'm trying to advance, like act outs and and maybe some accents and different skills that I can then bring into what I guess is my art, my form of expression. So I do other things. Like I really don't feel any ring rust because I think my comedy's so internal for me that as long as I can keep my mind sharp, that it's not it's not a waste. I'm not wasting my time. It's still there. It's still accessible. It's still ready. But I can't do it until I go do comedy. Right. So it's just waiting. It goes into hibernation. However, I do feel old jokes are hard to remember sometimes because I don't have those 30 reps that I did last week.
Right. I think with the watching my recordings, that helped against ring rust because a lot of my material is it gets memorized, if you will. There is very specific point it's supposed to hit. So, seeing that over and over and over, it's like, I don't have to practice. Like, I'm seeing it in my mind play out kind of thing.
You essentially do it 3 times.
You
probably rehearse before, during, and then you look at it after and you play it again. Yeah,
I think Joe Rogan even says, if you do, it's like half a set if you watch yourself do half a set. So, that's what I figured as well. Like, watching myself is going to help. And just, again, notice those little things. Like, oh, I should have done this better. Or like, I had the clean rappers bit. Like, I thought one joke, I should put a pause here. Like, I'll try that when I finally get out of here and, do a mic finally. I should wait. And I started doing that, So, or there's a joke like, I only did this joke this certain way. I'm going to do that from now on, know? So.
Well, I feel like you guys are running out of questions, so I have one final question after you answer the question.
Okay.
So what do you feel like, Aaron Chase, about your street stand-up and comedy?
I think it's helping me with being comfortable. Like I could give a fuck if I don't do well anymore. Like whatever.
That's good. Yeah.
And not in a. I could give a fuck in the sense that like it's not going to crush me on the drive home. I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it does.
I'll be out there for 4 hours tomorrow.
Yeah, like it's there's always gonna street stand up made me remember like, hey, there's gonna be another show.
Yeah,
that's fine. And it's helping me with working on being present, which is super fucking hard.
Yeah,
just day to day life.
Yeah,
so hard.
Do people spend their whole lives trying to be present?
Yeah, they go.
Some people just meditate in caves for 30 years.
Yeah,
and they never succeed. But I think it's helped me with that. I think it's more helped me with things like marketing and building audience and understanding. It's made me. It's less my comedy that I'm understanding, and I'm understanding the audience more because there's no barrier to me. They can all just put on anything they want. They can yell. They can do anything.
Heckle.
Yeah. And so now I've learned more about the audience and their mentalities than I've learned about myself. And now that I'm going back into 5-minute moments, I can just focus on that. So that feels good.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you are drawing it on it as like an experience in terms of street stand. That's cool. Have you guys developed any new like habits or systems of writing or mentalities that you're like, well, I don't know why I didn't do this before?
Yes. Do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll think.
I was looking at things auditorily, not visually.
Oh, I see.
So,
dude, you're a fucking interpreter. What are you talking about? That's the dumbest thing I've heard you say on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm so mad at you.
Well, what I mean by that is when I would write jokes, it would be the sentences. And I was thinking about the words coming together to make the punchline. But I wasn't using my imagination. Visually, what am I picturing here?
What am I telling the audience?
Yeah, what little movie have I presented to the audience? And so
what head movie?
Yeah.
What head movies am I using? And now what I'm trying to implement is being present and allowing that imagination to flow. And it's just really difficult.
For me, I don't have head movies. I have head films because I'm more just high art head films.
Everything's shot with an HD camera.
It's Oscar worthy.
I'm using those handy cams for Pornhub.
Yeah, he's got an HD photographic memory over here. So
you got a Polaroid. You're just spinning it. So this is actually where it comes to my notes. So
perfect. God, I'm so good at this.
We got a joke kind of stuff. For me, I've been really thinking about the joke logic. You know, like the joke in its perspective is the point of view you're coming from. Is that like the position you're taking? For instance, so Carlos Patino, He has
you hear that, bitch?
He has a really cool joke about his baby, about
how it's delicious,
how he gets superstition instead of knowledge and stuff. And so I think that's that's an awesome premise. And I've told comics, you have a great premise. They always take it's not a good joke. It's like, no, when you have a great premise, that's a gold mine in my opinion, because the joke is never finished. I think Alec DeMai said that before. I think it's very true. Like, it's never finished. So, you can always go back to that premise and find something new, find new angle with it. So with his joke about his baby, he gets superstition. But as he mentions the superstition, you can't tell if he's in the superstition, he agrees with it, or he's like where he. So he'll
like his perspective.
Yeah, you can't tell his perspective
if he's superstitious or not.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I've been really tthinking about too. What's the position I'm taking?
Having a clear intent.
Yeah, clear. Like, okay, I'm either for this superstition, or I'm out of it. So that's I've been also thinking of, this is before pandemic, pieces of info. So like, if I'm writing a joke, like you think of a one-liner maybe needs like 2 pieces of information, maybe for the premise, maybe for the punchline. So I've been thinking, how do I tell a story and then again have that? It's kind of like cutting the fat, but you're building the joke from the ground up. You're thinking, how do I build a joke that's like needs 2 pieces of information, for instance, needs 3 and that kind of stuff. And then also, let's see. So there was also, what are they laughing at? Like, that's why I don't do a lot of comparisons, because you can write a joke and the comparison's funny, but are they laughing at the comparison? Or are they laughing at what I'm actually saying? Where they actually is what I'm actually saying funny? That idea. Like, I like examples, but the example is supposed to reinforce the original idea.
Like, are they laughing at the dick joke, or are they just laughing because you said dick?
Right. And that's again like the swearing thing. Like I'm clean, and actually that comes from a purity thing too, because there is personal. Like I don't use swearing, but you can spruce any joke up with swearing. And I'm thinking, are they laughing because there's a swear word in there, or you added this or added that kind of thing, So I think I've done a lot. Oh, and one thing I've really, so Woody Allen, I don't like to quote him very much, but he has a good quote that like you should laugh. I'm butchering it probably, but you should laugh at who the comic is and not what they're saying. And I've realized that I tap into that more than I realize, especially when you're very self-deprecating. You're saying, this is who I am on stage. That's actually a big reason why I think Seinfeld, I love I know you haven't seen the sitcom Seinfeld, but the show sitcom, even if the show works because a lot of the humor comes from the different characters and how strongly their interaction. Whereas I feel like a show like, say, How I Met Your Mother, it's like, okay, they're saying witty things, but I'm not laughing because that person says it.
Just the Seinfeld thing.
Okay.
It's because I see a lot of the stuff I don't like in myself in him.
Oh, okay.
There's a
Jewish, white.
Yeah, it's fucking
name them,
Jew,
dude.
white, rich,
successful as fuck. I hate all of it.
Been doing it. Has respect amongst all of his peers.
I am an artist.
Yeah. What I see in him is somebody who is, in many ways, thinks he is better than people.
He thinks he's better than the audience. He said that on HBO.
Yeah,
He thinks he does. I would say separate the show from because his stand-up, from what I understand, very clean. The show is not, Seinfeld's not a clean show per se. There's the other characters they riff off of too. I mean, there is like an amazing part where Kramer and Newman are playing Risk, and there's just that whole thing plays out, and Jerry's not even in that story. Like and sometimes I'll be talking to my friends about side plots. I'm like, oh, that was in that episode as well. Like they all take like 4 different side plots and kind of merge them all together. So I recommend checking it out and just not even thinking about him because he will do kind of a stand-up, but his stand-up is really not, especially when he goes later in the show, like it gets more, just the writing gets better, I think, more absurdity, that kind of stuff. So
it's him. Like
when you can get past him, I'd recommend watching it.
Did Seinfeld jump you?
He punched you.
What's the deal with this nigger? What do we like? This guy.
Why is he out here for 5 hours?
When he laughs, he does. There's this mousy nose thing that goes up.
He doesn't laugh in the entire show.
No, not the show.
But
when he laughs, there's like his fucking nose turns up.
I don't think I've ever seen him laugh.
I'll find a picture.
Oh.
And it's like, I know.
He comes across a completely pretentious person.
He seems, and it's like, I don't know this guy, and I have the utmost respect for him as a comedian. This is not me saying I'm better than Seinfeld.
Right.
This is me saying, like,
he just rubs you the wrong way.
There is something about that man that irritates me. Have you ever seen somebody whose face, you just look at your
right.
You would need to put it on a punching bag of your own so you can just fucking hit it. There's something about his face.
I would say it's the same, like saying I won't watch Bill Burr's comedy because I didn't like his character in Mandalorian. I would say it's the same kind of thing. Like,
it's weird that they somehow managed to make Bill Burr in space.
Yeah,
and give that gun Bill Burr's personality.
He should do more voice acting.
I
too.
agree.
He has such a distinctive voice. I'm tired of seeing Cardi B or whoever they keep throwing on these animated, because they got Marquis. I want to see like more distinctive voices just because they sound good when you hear them. Like they're distinctive.
This is a good time, like right now, especially for like voice actors and stuff. Everyone there's people are getting work right now.
Yeah,
because you can do that shit from home.
Yeah, that's what's
so cool.
That's what I do like about the Renaissance Disney, like 90s Disney, or I'd say right before. I was watching a video. They said kind of Robin Williams kind of started the whole celebrity anime thing.
Yeah.
And actually Shrek kind of even streamlined it more. But before that, it was very much they would just get character actors, and that's what I kind of miss.
Yeah. All right. Now I know he's not laughing in this picture.
And I know it's Photoshop, but
there's something about he's looking at you like, why are you even talking to me?
Dude, you can't just talk about Jews in their nose like that. That's fucked up.
Yes, I can, because I'm black. Yes, I can. I'm going to use that card, goddammit.
Jew noses matter too, bro.
Right? God damn. Sorry. There's something about him. Anyway.
Yeah, I would, like I said, it's like not watching Bill Burr's comedy because you don't like him in Mandalorian. It's kind of like,
oh, you're right. I'm being an idiot.
Yeah, I should find like just a list of like, these are the ones to check out. And
I am well aware that my strange obsession / disdain for Seinfeld is really silly, and it doesn't make sense, and it's dumb, and it's petty.
Oh, I totally get your disdain for him as a person. I would just say separate him from the show. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I should be able to do that. I just know, at least at the moment.
Maybe the next time there's a pandemic, you can watch.
Yeah, I'll
That's
sit
done
down.
with Tiger King 5 or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seinfeld is an amazing comedian. And he deserves all the respect in the world.
It's interesting to see him break down comedy. I'll say that when I was younger, I really didn't get his comedy.
You know what? There's a moment he there's a clip on YouTube where he's talking about a joke that he'd been working on for 5 years.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've seen that.
I don't think so.
I think it was on I Am Comic, maybe.
Some shit.
Was it
like
the one
that.
he did with Louis C.K. and all them?
No, because he sat down with a paper. He had a piece of paper.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, "I've been working on this for 5 years." And part of me is like, "God damn, I respect that."
Yeah,
Wow,
totally.
you care about this.
Yeah.
And the other part of
I'm
me,
like, fucking throw that fish back, dude. Clearly it's not ready to be picked.
and the other part of me, and this is the personal part, because this is how I used to write. I used to write like that,
Yeah.
of like, I need to make it, I need to,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, now it's not honest, and it doesn't have that flexibility about it.
It could be more honest though, because you learn more about yourself. But yeah,
But the way it's not about himself though. It's about the wording and, well, what if I use Cocoa Puffs instead of Lucky Charms? And like he's thinking of it in a very mechanical way.
I think
And so, or he seems to be. And so for me, when I see that, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be anything like that. I like the drive and I respect the drive, but the mechanism, I don't want anything to do with that now. And I could see that self in me, and that I could see that self in
Me,
Me,
myself
I could
and
see
him.
you're gonna give me a stroke trying to quote you, bro.
see myself in him.
Do you smelling toast? But I could see that in myself, and I'm like, oh, I need to distance myself from that. And I think that's why it's so visceral.
If it works for you, it doesn't work for you. The whole honesty thing. I mean, it's lots of. I don't know. I think honesty is good for comedy. I think jokes work better if someone were like, that's the thing I can relate to. But I don't think comedy needs honesty per se.
Can you elaborate?
Let's see.
Like, it doesn't need honesty in that you can play a character and it doesn't necessarily need to be you.
Yeah, there's that too, and you can just completely make up a situation.
Yeah, I think honesty is not necessary because what we're doing in comedy is inherently dishonest.
And like, I'll take something that's real to me, but I'll crank it up to 11.
Yeah.
And make it absurd or whatever.
Because it's like you were saying, it's about the intent. Where do you stand on this subject, and how do I make that the most colorful version of said subject?
But I think where you stand needs to be honest.
Maybe, or it could just be a thought out loud.
Yeah.
But that's your honest thought out loud. Like in that if I went on stage and I was like, I love Blue Lives Matter, that would be disingenuous, and no matter how much I faked it.
I don't know. What do you say off the fucking camera? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, when anytime I'm like, I don't know why these blacks keep running around.
You're like, I don't know why I would ever want to move out of this neighborhood.
I love it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could be still funny though, because it's the absurdity of you. Oh wait, what's
Saying hi.
Oh, okay. Oh, hey. Hey,
Was that
how's
the
it going?
Hawaiian way of saying that? Okay.
I was like, are there people on your?
I was
like,
trying to do it quietly.
doing like
You
a
guys
Zoom
wanna
thing
bring
while
it
you're
up,
out.
it's totally fine.
Okay. So let's say you did do that. You did the whole Blue Lives Matter thing, and you come. That would people would understand the absurdity. I think actually of it. They maybe find that funny. So there's still that joke could work if they're understanding
The irony.
the irony of it.
But the irony inherently comes with my actual honesty of not. So to me, yes, you can make it where you can play character, you can make it work. But like Colbert did it. But even in that was satirical. Like,
yeah. Okay.
for me, honesty is a part of it.
So you had that one joke where you end with the Eminem. You're like, you start doing Eminem's.
Lose. Fuck, whatever.
How's that joke go again?
Fuck.
You gonna make him do it?
It's been so long.
Okay. Well, that joke. I wouldn't say it's honest, but you just end with something absurd. Like that's kind of how you. So I wouldn't say that's an honest joke per se.
If I remember the joke correctly, I know what you're saying. It's the exaggeration. It's dishonest in that. No, I don't actually.
It's not dishonest, but it's hyperbole in
There
the
you
sense
go.
that it is based in honesty, but it is dishonest in its intent.
To me, the joke, just the way you did it was just more of a random thing. Like instead of going this direction, where I think it was like
It's a quick skirt.
yeah, you're just gonna start quoting Eminem. Like there's nothing honest about it. It's not like, oh, you're making a great or grand.
I remember it was like when you meet someone that
I thought we
you
were past this.
yeah.
nope. Now you're gonna have to hear it.
Right.
When you meet a girl that you like, you feel that feeling, your butterflies, and you walk up to her and it's like your palms are sweaty.
Right. So
He's weak.
what's honest about quoting Eminem? I guess
the honesty isn't the punchline. The honesty is
You
that
should do it with a different song every time. That would be great.
Yeah.
Just quote every Eminem song. He's like, "Dear Sam,
Yeah.
I wrote you, but you still ain't calling."
So I guess what was your mentality for using Eminem? Why did you want to use Eminem as part of your?
It wasn't that. That just happened naturally.
Okay, so that wasn't an honest thing. You just want to throw in there because you thought it'd be funny?
Thought it was funny. Yeah,
okay,
just thought it was funny.
So something the comedy is just be funny. It doesn't mean it's honest.
But the honesty was that that's how I feel when
Okay.
I'm talking to a guy.
So
genuinely you're pulse like
yeah.
that feeling.
So the premise is still honest.
The premise is honest. Where I was coming from when thinking about that was honest.
Right.
It's just for the sake of the joke,
Right.
hyperbole and changes up and stuff. So the
Right.
core of it has to be me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, I mean, I think characters work. I mean, people can make a character work, whatever. But I guess the character, I guess you could say honesty in the sense that they have to be the character. The character has to be convincing to people too.
Larry the Cable Guy has to be Larry the Cable Guy forever now.
Yeah.
And that sounds exhausting.
Or when he's Larry the Cable Guy, you have to believe he's Larry the Cable Guy. He's not like half doing it either. You have to go into it, and then if he doesn't do Larry the Cable Guy 5 years from now, then he does somebody else. It's fine.
Ellen's another good example of someone who kind of fucked herself by being the nice lady. Because now, like, if you're not nice...
Fuck y'all, that show's back on. Homegirl's doing it right.
She seems to be fine.
Yeah,
but
it shows that you can't get canceled for being mean. That's what I found.
There you go. But it's like, I don't want to... Ellen created a persona, and I don't want to just.
Yeah.
I just want to be Aaron Chase, and if you like what the fuck I do, cool. If you don't, get away from me.
Because I want people to find me funny. That's why I don't want to do a character. I don't. Yeah, like that's how I thought about be funny to do a character at an open mic, but my fear is like people find that funnier than what I'm doing, my natural self. I'm like I don't want to fall into that crap.
Dice Clay became Dice Clay.
Yeah. It's like, hey, when you go up there as Ralph and you talk about killing deer, that was funnier than anything you've done on stage the last 5 years. I'm like, well, whatever. Then.
Well, I'm Ralph Lanny.
Yeah, from now I'm gonna be Ralph then.
Nick Lanny's half cousin, twice removed.
This is Ralph.
Yeah.
Are we?
Uh,
I guess we fucking 2 hours and some change, bro.
Awesome. Cool.
What are you guys at? You got any shows going on? Things are opening back up. So I mean, you booking shows? Are you doing shows? Are you running shows? Sucking dick? I don't know what your future looks like. Talk to us.
I'm not running any shows at the moment. I help Beltran out with his mic. That's about as far as running anything goes right now. I help with sound, help him like pull names, whatever.
Don't sell yourself short.
Thanks, man.
Those little things make a show.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
That show bangs because you're a part of it.
I'm his George. I'm his George Frida.
Yeah, Beltran would pull his fucking hair out if he didn't have you there.
Yeah, for
thanks,
sure,
man.
For sure. And like I said, it's a team effort.
Yeah.
So give yourself credit where credit's due.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And then, I mean, I'm trying to.
That's Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. My days blend together.
Even when I got on that show at the park, it was stressful because I'm like, what if something happens and then I don't want to cancel it, whatever. So I'm like, I'm just fine doing mics right now, just getting better at that.
Yeah, same.
So,
Same. So if you want to catch Nick Lanny, you got to go hit that mic scene.
Yeah, you'll see me, yeah. Lava589, that's where I'm out on Instagram. Lava589 on YouTube.
Thank you. I've been telling Will Henderson to just fucking line all his shit up. Stop telling me different screen names.
Right.
Pick one.
Yeah.
Lava589. What about you, mister?
I've been making my own street shows, and they're all crowd work shows for the most part. And if you want to know where those are, just join the text list because I jump around.
It's like finding Fluffy. He'll text you 10 minutes before he gets there.
Where's Carmen San Diego?
Yeah,
join the cult.
Just DM me your number, and that's on.
Give me your number.
I'll at your boy.
I'll sell it to 5 spam companies.
Put it in my MailChimp.
Paying rent. Just DM me on Instagram, Aaron Chase 91, and you'll know when I'm out there.
Dope. I'm at the George F everywhere. We are at the Buddy System Co. on Instagram. Go to our website, www.thebuddysystem.co for everything. Thank you for being here, Nick Lanny. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.